the maximum level expert. She thrives in interstellar riches. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 551, Hunting Tournament 2. After saying that, Wen Jiu no longer cared about the two stunned former teammates. After she put the rabbit she shot into the storage ring, she was ready to go somewhere else to continue looking for rabbits. As a result, she just walked forward a few steps quickly and heard Wen Jiu yelling angrily, "How can you leave the team without permission? You are breaking the rules." He and Wen Jiu wandered around for a long time before finding the box, and they were scared by this girl before they hit the rabbit. Moreover, he saw that the other party not only had a gun, but also a storage ring, so he thought about forming a team to get the things over. In addition, he felt that the little girl's storage ring must have more than just the rabbit she just shot. If they can find the other party back and continue to move forward as a team, they don't have to look for a pistol anymore, and maybe they can get the prey without any effort. "Oh, what should we do? Or you can go to the teacher to complain." Wen Jiu didn't have time to argue with them here. She worked hard for a long time to kill 6 rabbits, and she felt that this number was far from enough to get the first place. Hearing this, Wen Jiu was speechless. Although Teacher Yuan said that he hoped that the two students could cooperate in a friendly manner, he did not say that leaving the team without permission was a violation. He just said that just to threaten number 9, but he did not expect that the other party would dare to directly fight back. "Bye, let's go." Wen Jiu felt that if she stayed here for one more second, she would lose a lively little rabbit. So this time she was too lazy to stop and walked straight into the depths of the dense forest. Seeing this, Wen Jiu's face was as black as a piece of pig liver. "Brother Ran." Hiss. "I'm afraid that my tinnitus needs to be relieved." Wen Jiu's head was buzzing because of the bullet that grazed him. He had been sitting on the ground and couldn't even speak. It was only at this moment that he was slightly relieved that he could barely stand up and speak. "The dead girl is really cruel. Don't let me touch her later." He looked at the parted grass with sinister eyes. After a small revenge on the two people, Wen Jiu was in a very happy mood at the moment. While carefully searching for the rabbit's trail, she vigilantly cleared the traces she had left behind. Although she was not worried about being chased by the two men for revenge, she still had to be on guard against other students coming to find her. After all, she was now alone and jumping around, and it would be bad if she was blocked by the other 3-person team. Facts have proved that the more you worry about something, the more likely it is to happen. Wen Jiu had just put the 8th rabbit into the storage ring when a loud sound of breaking through the air suddenly came from behind her, and at the same time, her back hurt, as if she was hit. Although the protective clothing can prevent students from being hurt, the pain after being hit is still unavoidable. Before she had time to pull out her gun and turn around to fight back, another bullet flew past her. "Which team are you from? How many prey do you have on you?" She finally recovered and turned around and saw 3 strangers behind her. Unexpectedly, there were really people who came to rob, and they hit her here. "None of your business." Wen Jiu clenched the grip and fired a shot directly. After being hit by her bullet, the leading student felt pain and subconsciously dropped his pistol. Seeing this, the other two quickly raised their pistols and shot at her. Bang, bang. The extremely loud gunshots almost pierced people's eardrums, but Wen Jiu just calmly dodged behind the tree. The remaining 2 students saw her hiding behind the tree, so one went to check on the student who was hit, and the other slowly walked towards the tree with low footsteps. Wen Jiu held her breath and listened to the movements around her. After noticing someone approaching the tree where she was hiding, she decisively loaded her gun and fired a shot in the direction she predicted. Bang. Another gunshot. But this time the student who was hit was still a student in the 3-person team. Because he was too close, he was hit directly in the chest. The severe pain made him stagger back. Wen Jiu took this opportunity to slightly sideways behind the tree and shot the student who was checking the situation again. The man seemed to be frightened by the scene in front of him. He didn't have time to dodge or pick up the gun to fight back, and he took the bullet she shot. Seeing this, Wen Jiu suddenly worried about the future of the Imperial Military Academy. Is this really a student from the top of the 5 major military academies? It's a bit too weak. But she didn't know that all students in the school had to sign up for extracurricular activities, and most of the students chose the same activities as in previous years. Only a small number of students who didn't get a place would bite the bullet and choose those that no one went to. Activities like visiting Brickstar for a friendly visit are the least popular and the ones that everyone least wants to choose. Those outstanding students with outstanding strength have signed up early, and the remaining places are mostly allocated by teachers, based on their grades. So the students who finally participated in this activity were almost all stuffed in, because they had nowhere else to go. It can be said that among the 50 students from the Imperial Military Academy, only Lu Yan and Wen Jiu really signed up voluntarily. Which team are you from? How many pray do you have? The students who were knocked to the ground all felt that this sentence sounded familiar. Wasn't this the question they asked after they ambushed this person a few minutes ago? Things have changed, and now they are the ones being questioned. Why should I tell you? The student whose gun was knocked out first said in a very aggressive tone, "I have prey, but I won't give it to you. What can you do to me?" Teacher Yuan said that it is forbidden to maliciously harm classmates, so he was not worried that the man in front of him would dare to take real action. However, it turned out that he was really naive. "What can I do to you?" Wen Jiu shot him in the waist in an instant. "What do you think?" The robbery hit her head. Did he think she was a soft persimmon that was easy to take advantage of? Fuck. The student's wrist pain had not yet subsided, and he was shot in the waist unexpectedly. The intense pain made him curse. Hearing this, Wen Jiu raised his gun and pointed it at him again, saying, "I'll ask you one last time, how many prey do you have on you?" Some people really don't understand what people say unless they are beaten. After being hit for the second time, the student began to shout, "Queen, spare me. Queen, spare me. We only shot 10 rabbits. Hand them over and give me your bullets, too." After saying this, the student who was hit in the waist quickly threw out the storage ring, fearing that he would be shot again because of his slow movements. Wen Jiu picked up the storage ring on the ground with disdain. After confirming that it was indeed filled with rabbits and bullets, she picked up the pistols they dropped on the ground and put them into the bracelet. She searched thoroughly and left here quickly. If you dare to bring the idea of robbing her, don't blame her for being merciless. Because the sound of the shots just now was quite loud, Wen Jiu quickened her pace and went somewhere else, so as to prevent more people from being attracted by the gunshots and waiting for the fisherman to take advantage in a place where she could not see. Today's third update has also been successfully delivered. Thanks again to every lovely little angel for their support. Love you 030. Chapter 552 Social Death Scene 1. Afterwards, Wen Jiu wandered around in the forest for a while. Because she had the bullets she had found from the stupid student trio, she did not look for the supply boxes hidden under the tree roots or in the grass. The main reason was that she had opened 3 or 4 supply boxes before, and they only contained pistols, bullets, and storage rings. There were no other items. So now she was focused on catching rabbits, and at the same time she had to avoid those 3-person teams and try not to have conflicts. We have caught 38 rabbits now. There are still 2 hours before the hunting competition ends. We will try to increase the number to 50 before the end. These rabbits run too fast. Teacher Yuan and the others may not have released mutant rabbits. They are not mutant rabbits, but ordinary wild rabbits. The reason why you think they run fast is because you are too slow. What do you mean by this? Could it be that your 3rd military region looks down on our 1st military region? Wen Jiu was squatting on a dense tree at this time, quietly watching the students arguing below. It's not that she likes to eat melons and watch the fun, but she just shot a rabbit a few minutes ago, and before she had time to leave, she heard a sound from the bushes behind her, so she quickly chose a tree to climb up. Unexpectedly, the 3 of them kept circling under the tree, and they actually quarreled while circling. I don't mean that. You can think whatever you want. Wen Jiu squatted on the tree and found it more and more interesting. It seems that the person walking in front is the seedling, and as for the 2 people walking side by side behind him, Most of them are students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy. It seems that the friendly scene expected by the teachers did not appear, and it was difficult for her and other seedlings to integrate into it. But why did she feel that the voice of this seedling was a little familiar, and it sounded very strangely fragile and gentle? As the saying goes, enemies meet on a narrow road. Could she have met Naven? The two students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy looked at each other and then walked in the opposite direction of the seedling. However, only one of the three of them had a storage ring, and the storage ring was still on the hand of a student from the Imperial Capital Military Academy. So the young seedling who noticed the intentions of the other teammates did not hesitate to take out his pistol and pointed it at the other two. Bang, bang, bang. The continuous gunshots were deafening, and the two students fell to the ground together. Their legs and waists were hit, and they could not fight back for a while. Hiss, are you crazy? One person kept cursing because of the pain, while the other person was shaking his right hand, trying to send a signal to the teacher for help. As a result, the next second, he was stepped on by the shooter who came over. Shh, I'm just playing a game with you. You are not children anymore. There is no need to complain to the teacher. After saying that, he tore off the other person's storage ring and quickly fled the scene. Seeing this, Wen Jiu did not stay here any longer. She suddenly fell to the ground with a thud, causing the two already frightened students to scream shrilly. Don't shout, I'll tell the teacher for you. She wanted to just leave and ignore them, but out of some curiosity, she went over to help the other party press the signal. Don't be polite, just tell me which number the one who ran away just now is. After the words fell, the student whose hand was stepped on gritted his teeth and said, it's number 3, and who are you? Although they were very grateful to the stranger for asking the teacher for help, it did not mean that they would let down their guard to treat the other party. It doesn't matter who I am, just remember that I'm helping you. When Jiu finished speaking and ran in the direction where Naven ran away, she was still worrying about where to go to continue looking for rabbits, and now that Naven was alone, it was a good opportunity for her to rob. Oh no, how can it be called robbery? She just wanted to borrow a few rabbits from the other party. What bad thoughts could Jiu have? Less than 10 minutes after Wen Jiu left, a teacher who was guarding nearby rushed over. What's going on? Teacher, we want to report number 3 from Maomio's class for maliciously harming his teammates and snatching the rabbits we hunted together for himself. The two of them couldn't swallow this bad breath, so they reported no 3's evil deeds to the teacher in unison. Hearing this, the teacher said seriously, okay, I will ask other teachers to take number 3 away. You will go down the mountain with me to check the surveillance first. If the situation is true, I will definitely punish him severely. After that, the student whose hand was stepped on before added, by the way, teacher, we have an eyewitness who can prove that everything we said is true. Oh, which team is the student from? The teacher first sent a signal to other teachers, and then summoned a flying machine to take them away. I don't know. The two people sitting on the flying machine looked at each other. They didn't even ask what team the person watching the show was from. Hearing this, the teacher could only say that he would check the surveillance later to find the student who didn't leave his name. At this time, on the other side, Wen Jiu followed the trail left by Naven and searched for a long time, but she still couldn't find the other party after going around in circles. After climbing over the huge protruding tree roots, she stopped and looked at the signal device. In addition to asking for help from the teacher, this signal device also shows the time until the end of the game. At this time, there is still 1 hour and 26 minutes to the end, but there are only 21 rabbits in her storage ring, which is too far from becoming the first place. It is not even enough to enter the top 5. So when Jiu thought it would be better to rob Naven, after getting the 38 rabbits from the other party, she will try hard to find them, at least to squeeze into the top 5. Unexpectedly, although Naven left many traces, the other party ran away as fast as a rabbit, causing her to not even find a shadow until now. It is definitely not possible to continue like this. She either gives up robbing Naven and catches rabbits, or she can only rob other people who are alone. But neither of these two methods is what she wants to choose, because she just wants to steal things from Naven. When Wen Jiu was thinking about how to solve the problem next, she heard a sound of breaking from behind her. She dodged sideways swiftly, then raised her gun and shot in the direction of the sound. Bang, bang, bang. Wen Jiu quickly moved towards the nearest stone, while observing the movements of the person shooting at her. Seeing that she wanted to hide behind the stone, the other party fired several shots in the direction of her movement, directly cutting off her thoughts of hiding. Seeing this, Wen Jiu was sure that the person coming was Naven, whom she was looking for. So she did not move towards the direction of the stone again, but instead fired a few shots in the direction of Naven, then sped up and rushed towards the bush where the other party was hiding. Today's first update has been delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 553 Social Death Scene 2. Naven didn't expect Wen Jiu to dare to rush over directly, so he was stunned for a moment before continuing to shoot. In just this short moment, the other party rushed in front of him. Before he could pull the trigger, Wen Jiu kicked the pistol away. The other party followed with another back kick, which directly kicked him back a few steps. Good brother, lend me some of your rabbits. Wen Jiu took out the pistol on his waist and pursued the victory, aiming at Naven's knee and shot. The other party had not stood firm yet and knelt down instantly after being hit. Seeing this, she held back her smile and said lazily, "Why do brothers have to perform such a big ceremony? Stand up and let's talk." The information Stephanie told her was indeed correct. Naven was not good at close combat like Ivan. Although the former is good at mecha combat and the latter is good at superpower combat, their combat capabilities will be greatly reduced after being restricted from using mecha and superpowers. After the words fell, Naven not only showed no anger, but took off his mask and said with a smile, "Since Miss Hunter has caught me, why not take my little rabbit away?" Hearing this, Wen Jiu only felt a question mark on his head. "Excuse me, are all the top 10 seedlings playing so perverted?" Seeing that she didn't speak, Naven's eyes were suddenly covered with a layer of mist. "Miss Hunter, you don't want me anymore, do you? How can the poor little rabbit survive in the forest?" Wen Jiu first tried to calm himself down, and immediately a flash of inspiration flashed in his mind. These two brothers are quite interesting. One is pretending to be a rabbit to find a hunter, and the other is pretending to be a hunter to catch rabbits. But Stephanie said that their relationship is average. Could it be that they have forgotten each other? The top 10 seedlings all live on the same island. If they can't remember each other, even if they meet day and night, it can be seen how powerful the masked man's method of removing memory is. In this case, what should she do to help Zeke and Gaio and Kyoshi regain their memories? But now is not the time to worry about this. Wen Jiu looked at Naven, who was rubbing his calf to please him, and suddenly felt a chill. "I beg you to be a normal person." She quickly stepped back several steps. "Lend me your prey first, and then find SpongeBob to return it to you." Although she was robbing Naven, she still had to be more tactful. If she said it too bluntly, she would not be able to defend herself when the other party went to the teacher to complain. After the words fell, Naven knelt down and moved towards her pitifully, as if he didn't understand what she said. Wen Jiu saw this and felt a chill again. "May I ask what kind of new fighting method is this? Miss Hunter, please don't abandon me. I will listen to you obediently." Naven moved and acted coquettishly, and she suddenly didn't want to rob him. But she thought about the two children who were waiting hard, and then thought about her pitiful and insignificant points. Forget it, I'll be a bad guy to the end. It's just acting. No one knows acting better than her. Wen Jiu endured the chill and said, "Really? Then show me your sincerity first." Hearing this, Naven moved faster. When the other party was only half a meter away, she immediately pulled out her gun and pointed it at the ground. "Stop. You can only move when I say you can, otherwise I will find a more obedient little rabbit." After she finished speaking, she was full of emotion. She thought that she had complained about Ivan's perversion before, but she didn't expect that she would become a pervert one day. After the words fell, Naven really knelt down obediently. "Okay, throw your storage ring over here." Wen Jiu just wanted to take the prey and leave quickly. She really didn't want to play this perverted game again. I don't know what's wrong with the two brothers Nathan and Ivan. They actually like to play this weird role-playing game. It's not that there is anything wrong with this kind of game. If they play it privately, it's fine. Why force her, a stranger, to participate? Nathan obediently took off the storage ring and threw it out, but before Wen Jiu went forward to pick it up, he heard him say, "Miss Hunter, can I play hide and seek with you?" Hearing this, Wen Jiu quickly picked up the storage ring and moved the prey. "Didn't you say you would listen to my orders? Little rabbit, you are not obedient at all." "Sorry, Miss Hunter." Nathan suddenly lay on the ground with a guilty look. "I just want to get closer to you. I hope you won't hate me because of this." Wen Jiu glanced at his face before he lay down, and his tearful posture was very touching. It must be said that Nathan and Ivan both look outstanding. Although Ivan looks like a sickly boy with black hair and black eyes, Nathan has white hair and pink eyes and a harmless appearance. The two have completely different appearances, and even their personalities are completely opposite. But she is not in the mood to appreciate the sickly beauty here. She still prefers to see normal personalities. So Wen Jiu threw Nathan's storage ring away and turned around to look for prey somewhere else. But she had just taken a few steps when the other party discovered her intention. "Miss Hunter, how could you deceive me?" Nathan suddenly became furious. He raised his pistol and shot at Wen Jiu, which was completely different from his humble and flattering attitude before. But Wen Jiu had expected it and easily dodged the bullet. Seeing this, Nathan had a gloomy face and fired a burst of shots regardless of anything. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. But he was in a rage, and the accuracy of his shooting was not comparable to usual. Therefore, Wen Jiu dodged it with ease. Nathan suddenly dropped his pistol while shooting and shot a gust of wind in the direction where the other party was dodging. Oh my god. Wen Jiu felt the whistling gust of wind and quickly dodged to find the nearest cover. She didn't expect Nathan to be so crazy when he was furious and would rather give up his grades to kill her here. This was a direct battle using superpowers, and she couldn't beat the other party yet, so she had to think of a way to get out of it. Wen Jiu was just thinking about it when someone pulled her, and she fell into a broad embrace. She just raised her head and was pressed back by the other party, so she could only hear the thumping heartbeat, and at the same time there was a hint of clear pine wood fragrance lingering around. Just smelling it made her feel inexplicably relieved. Seeing that she disappeared out of thin air, Nathan began to use superpowers to violently clear the trees and grass around. Seeing this, Lu Yan wanted to take the little girl in his arms away. It's not that he couldn't beat the crazy man, but because the hunting competition was still going on at the moment, he couldn't break the rules as the captain. And the other party made such a big noise, naturally there would be a teacher to deal with it. If he left the little girl here, the other party would most likely be taken away for investigation. But before he had time to gesture to other teammates, he heard a somewhat vague and crisp voice. "Robbery, hand over your storage ring. Today's second update has also been successfully delivered. Thank you for the support of every little angel 030. First of all, it should be explained that the two brothers Nathan and Ivan are not that kind of brothers. They have a very normal brotherhood. They are just a pair of poor ghosts with a story." Chapter 554 Social Death Scene 3. How could Wen Jiu not recognize Lu Yan? The light woody scent on him was exactly the same as the scent of her favorite incense bills. The scent of pine wood after the rain mixed with the scent of mountain white tea, with a lingering sandalwood scent in the middle. She thought it was the cool woody scent in the mist of the distant mountains, but her senior sisters often complained that it was the old monk burning incense, and told her to take a stroll in the temple next door, which was guaranteed to be more authentic than the woody scent she mixed. It was precisely because she mixed it herself that she remembered this scent. But she didn't understand why Lu Yan had this scent. Could it be that this could be the same style? Don't make trouble. Wen Jiu just finished talking about robbing when she heard the other party's hoarse voice. After these two light words fell, they scratched her heart like feathers. But she was not the kind of person who would be easily fooled, so she tried to raise her left hand and pointed the gun at Lu Yan's chest, lowered her voice again, and said in a heavier tone, "Robbery, hand over your prey." being a bad guy. Once you do it, there will be a second time. Lu Yan suddenly didn't know how to answer. He felt the girl twisting in his arms and wanted to ask her to be quiet and not move, but he didn't know that she really wanted to rob him. But for some reason, he was not angry at all. Just when the two of them were in a stalemate, someone suddenly threw fruit from the tree. "Hey, Captain. If you don't leave, the teacher will come." Wen Jiu realized that there was actually a person hiding in the tree. From the sound, it seemed to be the customer named Wen Jiu. It was just the sound of throwing the fruit that disturbed Naven, and the other party condensed a gust of wind and blew towards the tree. Seeing this, Lu Yan hugged Wen Jiu tightly with one hand and quickly dodged and raised his pistol with the other hand and started shooting very quickly. Bang, 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 bang. Each shot landed steadily on Naven and kept making muffled sounds after hitting. Wen Jiu didn't squat on the tree stupidly to be beaten. He also started shooting after jumping off the tree, but his accuracy was not comparable to Lu Yan. Hiss. Naven didn't retreat after being hit, but continued to use his supernatural power to attack. Such a big noise had already attracted the teacher's attention, so after they fought for a while, they heard the teacher's special whistle sounded not far away. Hearing the sound, Lu Yan immediately gestured to Wen Jiu, and the other party hurriedly drilled into the depths of the forest. Let go. Wen Jiu finally found a chance to break free. Everyone flies when disaster strikes, do you know? Although she didn't know, while Lu Yan appeared, she just wanted to run quickly when the teacher was coming, so as not to be taken away, and the game was forcibly terminated. As a result, the other party didn't even hesitate for a moment, just grabbed her wrist and ran back. Lu Yan's strength was greater than she imagined. Even if she was wearing protective clothing, she could feel the numbness of her wrist being pinched tightly. Therefore, Wen Jiu could only accept her fate and run away. She didn't stop until she reached a clear stream. She first scanned the surrounding environment. After confirming that this place was far away from the previous place, she shook off Lu Yan's hand and turned to leave. Seeing this, Wen Jiu, who arrived first, couldn't help but shout, "Hey, we saved your life." Hearing this, Wen Jiu took a deep breath and stopped and took out 10 rabbits from the storage ring. "Thank you, this is a reward. If there is nothing else, I will leave first." In fact, she could have escaped, even if they didn't show up, but she would have suffered some minor injuries. "Is this your attitude?" Wen Jiu looked at the rabbits she threw out. "I should have known not to save you and let you be beaten to death by that madman." They happened to be hunting rabbits nearby at that time, but Lu Yan's hearing has always been beyond ordinary people, and he also has the blessing of mental power to scan the surroundings, and as a result, he found that number 9 was confronting someone else. Wen Jiu was of the attitude of less trouble is worse than more trouble, and he saw that the other person was not his classmate, so he didn't want to get involved in such trivial matters. But I don't know what Lu Yan was thinking. After watching for a while, he wanted to save number 9, so he followed him to hide the location of the big tree. Wen Jiu was still very dissatisfied with No 9's attitude and continued to add, "I knew you were not a good person. You were so fancy at such a young age. I didn't expect your Mio class to be so chaotic." After the words fell, the other party immediately turned around and walked back, picked up the gun, and pointed it at him. "I'm not a good person, but what do you mean by the latter? What else can it mean?" "Literally." "Enough." Wen Jiu was interrupted by Lu Yan before he finished speaking. Seeing this, he was dissatisfied, but still shut up. "What about you? Do you regret saving me?" Wen Jiu suddenly felt an aimless anger in her heart, and she quickened her pace and walked in front of Lu Yan to ask. She was not a pure good person, and she would weigh the pros and cons before doing anything. Moreover, she would habitually speculate on other people's intentions. To put it bluntly, she was afraid that her own interests would be damaged. The sudden appearance of Lu Yan and Wen Jiu caught her off guard. For a moment, she felt that her brain was hot, and she couldn't turn around. She subconsciously wanted to stay away from them, because she felt that she had no corresponding rewards to give. She was not used to this kind of help without any equivalent exchange, so she was afraid that she would owe some unnecessary favors. Lu Yan looked at the girl in front of him who was like a firecracker, and finally put down the gun and said helplessly, "No." This attitude instantly made Wen Jiu speechless. She originally wanted to anger the two people and then run away so that they would not chase her to ask for favors. But Lu Yan not only did not show anger, but she also heard a hint of helplessness in the other party's tone. Seeing that she was stunned and did not continue to question, Lu Yan didn't know what to say next, so he could only look at Mingyu, who was sulking. "Why are you looking at me? Just go and coax her." Mingyu's tone, like that of a resentful man, directly made Wen Jiu lose half of his anger, and he even laughed out loud without holding back. Hearing this, he began to be sarcastic again. "You are so young, and you are already having an affair with others. You are playing the game of Miss Hunter and Rabbit. How can you behave in broad daylight?" Wen Jiu's first reaction to hearing this was that the other party would definitely become good friends with Zikingyu. But when she thought about this sentence again, she suddenly felt like she was going to die. So she took a deep breath and asked, "When did you find out about me in number 3? After the words fell, Mingyu imitated Nathan's tone and said, "Miss Hunter, please don't abandon me. I will listen to you obediently. Thanks for the invitation. I just experienced a social death on Izhan Island and was about to dig a hole to bury myself. Today's third update has also been delivered. Thank you all for your support once again. 030. Very quietly, I never said that Jiu is an absolutely good person." Chapter 555. A hot man was cheated. 1. Wen Jiu really didn't expect that they would come so early, and they happened to run into her performance, but she had lived for so many years and had seen all kinds of scenes. As the saying goes, as long as you are not embarrassed, then others will be embarrassed. So she changed the subject, as if nothing had happened, and asked, "So, you have been watching the show from the side, right? Then your taste is quite unique. This trick is called diverting trouble to others. She is really smart and witty." Sure enough, Mingyu stood up from the ground the next second. "You? What nonsense are you talking about? We just happened to pass by. Who has nothing to do to watch such a show?" "Oh, then your coincidence is too coincidental." Wen Jiu's face was full of perfunctory words. "The competition will end in less than an hour. Since there is nothing else, I will leave first." After speaking, Mingyu just snorted and turned her head away, pretending to ignore her. "Then I'm leaving." Wen Jiu didn't want to stay here any longer. She still had to find other students. But when she passed by Lu Yan, the other party suddenly grabbed her wrist. At that moment, she only felt her heartbeat speeding up. If it weren't for the rustling sound of the breeze blowing through the leaves, I'm afraid that this close distance would directly expose her heartbeat. Fortunately, Lu Yan quickly let her go. Although she was confused, she didn't ask much, and then she sped away from this place. After her figure completely disappeared, Mingyu was very disappointed and persuaded, "Captain, not everyone is suitable to be a friend. Look at that number 9. She has a bad temper and a weird personality. She doesn't know how to be grateful when we saved her. It's better to stay away from such cold-blooded people, and there is no normal person in the 3rd military region." After speaking, Lu Yan did not refute anything, but just used his mental power to explore the surroundings. After confirming that number 9 had completely gone far away, he spoke calmly, "Let's go find Xiao Tang first, and confirm the total number of prey. All the members of their team are students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy, but Xiao Tang is an armed mecha soldier who is good at fighting, so he arranged for him to act alone after entering the field. In this way, it will be more efficient to capture prey separately than if they act together. Oh, let's go." Mingyu swept away his previous unhappy expression. "Captain, please teach me more about fighting later." Because he had been concentrating on studying mechas before, his ability level and fighting ability were not high. He originally thought that it was okay for a mecha master not to fight. Anyway, there were armed mecha soldiers to protect himself. But after being chased by Stephanie in the morning, he changed his mind. "I'll let Xiao Tang teach you." Lu Yan just glanced at him coldly and then checked the storage ring while walking. "Xiao Tang's training method is not suitable for me." Mingyu pouted a little aggrieved, "and our mecha major doesn't have combat classes." As he was talking, he found that Lu Yan suddenly stopped. Seeing this, he couldn't help but ask in confusion, "Captain, why don't you leave?" Lu Yan's mood is very complicated now. If I have to describe it, it's probably 3 parts of anger, 6 parts of disbelief, and 1 part of loss. It was the first time he knew that people's moods could be so complicated. "You go find Zio Tang first." After saying that, he disappeared in the blink of an eye like a gust of wind, leaving Mingyu standing there stupidly with a confused face. The sun shone on the green mountain road, casting mottled shadows from the branches. Occasionally, a breeze blew, and the leaves rustled. Wen Jiu was groping forward in the woods, and saw a huge rotten wood not far away, covered with flat-headed mushrooms. She walked up and carefully identified it. After confirming that it was a non-toxic mushroom, she quickly picked it up. It seems that she was very lucky today. Not only did she catch hundreds of rabbits without any effort, but she also found wild mushrooms while walking. She could just take these mushrooms back and make soup with the chestnuts she picked in the morning. Wen Jiu was picking mushrooms while keeping an eye on the surroundings, because she didn't know when Lu Yan and Mingyu would find out that the rabbits they had worked so hard to catch had been replaced with chestnuts. This was also the reason why her heart began to beat wildly after Lu Yan grabbed her wrist. To be honest, she just tried it on a whim, but she didn't expect that she could really replace them without leaving any trace. She had already harvested 54 rabbits before, and now with the ones she got from Lu Yan, the total number has exceeded 100. Even if she doesn't look for new rabbits next, she will definitely win the first place in this competition. Thinking of this, Wen Jiu felt even better. But just when she finished picking mushrooms and was about to continue looking for rabbits, a very loud sound of breaking through the air suddenly came from behind her. Bang, bang, bang. Hearing the sound, she took advantage of the situation to hide behind the rotten wood and at the same time took out her gun and loaded the bullets. Then there were continuous gunshots. Fortunately, the bullets fired were not real. Otherwise, with this fierce attack, the rotten wood would have been shot through long ago. Wen Jiu wondered who the person was while quietly waiting for the opportunity to attack. But the other party seemed to know what she was thinking and did not give her any chance to catch it. Even after a round of bullets was finished, he did not change the magazine and directly used another gun to shoot continuously. Seeing this, she could only bite the bullet and roll over. After all, the rotten wood in front of her was about to be shot through. If she did not react, she would really be finished. "You have, huh?" Wen Jiu thought that the person who came was the crazy knave, and she was still wondering why the other party had not been taken away. As a result, she turned over with a gun in her hand and found that the person who kept shooting at her was actually Lu Yan. But it was not strange to think about it. She secretly replaced the rabbit with chestnuts. It would be strange if the other party did not chase and snatch it. Seeing that she finally appeared from behind the rotten wood, Lu Yan stopped shooting with a cold face. "Give me back my stuff." Hearing this, Wen Jiu just squatted on the ground and raised his gun to aim. "If you don't want to give it back, come and rob it, if you have the guts." Why should she give back the rabbits she got by her own ability? Moreover, the teacher did not forbid them to do such things before the hunting competition began, and she was robbed by students without the teacher stopping her. This is enough to show that robbing prey is within the scope allowed by the teacher. After the words fell, Wen Jiu could feel the temperature around her dropping rapidly. So she put one hand behind her back and condensed a ball of deep blue flame. The next second, Lu Yan suddenly rushed over like a cheetah, and at the same time he could keep steady and shoot bullets at her. Seeing this, she first rolled over to avoid the incoming bullets, and then quickly raised her gun to aim, and fired a burst of shots. In the instant, when the opponent was about to rush in front of her, she nimbly took a step back and spun kick. But Lu Yan's reaction was not inferior to her at all, and he easily dodged her back kick by slightly turning sideways. Today's first update has been delivered. Thank you little angels for your support and love. 030. Chapter 556. A hot man was deceived too. Seeing this, Wen Jiu wanted to take advantage of this close opportunity to grab Lu Yan's right arm to suppress him. As a result, as soon as she raised her hand, she was grabbed by Lu Yan. The other party quickly pressed her arm on her back and pressed her to the ground. "Hand over the things." Lu Yan didn't want to treat number 9 like this, but he felt very uncomfortable. He did 2 outrageous things because of number 9, but the other party didn't seem to care at all and even took the opportunity to replace his prey with chestnuts. If it was just the prey he caught himself, it would be fine, but these prey were caught by him and Mingyu together, and the total number of prey was related to the ranking of their team. Before the hunting competition started, Teacher Yuan said that if the ranking was too low, they would be punished. He couldn't let himself implicate Mingyu and Xiao Tang, so he had the responsibility to come to Wen Jiu to get the prey back. Although he had some feelings for number 9 in his dream, he couldn't protect him unscrupulously in reality. He came from the Lu family, and he had to take his own responsibilities. No, Wen Jiu hadn't met such an opponent for a long time. But now she was clamped by Lu Yan with both hands, and even pressed to the ground by him. For a moment, she really couldn't think of how to struggle. Lu Yan didn't know what to do next. When facing an enemy, he would directly rob, but now the one he was suppressing was not an enemy, nor was it a friend. He hesitated for a moment before saying, "It's wrong for you to do this." The teacher didn't say you can't do this. Why is it wrong? Wen Jiu didn't expect Lu Yan to not rob directly, but to press her with one hand and start to reason. And now you come to force me to hand over the prey. Isn't it a kind of robbery? So don't stand on the moral high ground to condemn me. We are the same. After listening to her words that reversed right and wrong, Lu Yan felt angry and funny, but he was never good at arguing with others, so he remained silent. Seeing that he had not answered, Wen Jiu started to challenge him. "If you have the guts, you can beat me up. Anyway, I won't hand over the prey." She was secretly looking for an opportunity while she was speaking arrogantly. While Lu Yan was listening carefully to her words, she seized the opportunity to roll to the side and then fired a shot at him. Bang! Lu Yan dodged nimbly at the moment of the gunshot and at the same time took out a pistol from his waist and aimed it. Bang! 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 The continuous gunshots made Wen Jiu's scalp numb. She kept rolling on the ground like a spring roll, and her protective suit was covered with dust from the mud. After rolling for a long time, she finally found the opportunity to stand up. However, the bullet she just fired was the last one, and the remaining bullets were stored in her storage ring. In addition, Lu Yan's fierce attack made her know where to escape, and it was difficult for her to take out the bullets for replacement. She didn't expect that Lu Yan would be like a fearless and ferocious leopard when fighting. And she was like the prey that the other party wanted to hunt, being pressed step by step to the point where she couldn't fly away. "You're out of bullets." Lu Yan seemed to have noticed her embarrassment, so he temporarily stopped shooting and only pointed the gun at her to prevent her from doing anything to divert attention. Seeing this, Wen Jiu thought for a moment and threw the gun on the ground, then took off his bulletproof mask and raised his hands. "Yes, is it too late for me to admit defeat now?" After the words fell, Lu Yan only raised his left hand and waved, but his right hand was still holding the gun. It can be seen that it is difficult for him to relax his vigilance. However, Wen Jiu didn't care about these. She kept smiling and walked forward while saying, "If I had known you were so powerful, I wouldn't have fought with you. How could a weak little girl like me beat you? You said so, brother. And I thought about it seriously. I think you are very right. Robbery is too much. I must reflect on it and be a new person." Wen Jiu walked in front of Lu Yan as she spoke, and she took the initiative to hand over the storage ring to show her sincerity. "Brother, I'll return the rabbit to you. Can you let me go?" Her slightly drooping eyes looked harmless, and the corners of her mouth were raised in a flattering manner, revealing her little fangs, looking like a tamed little wolf. Hearing this, Lu Yan stared at her smiling expression, and after pointing the muzzle of the gun at her forehead, he reached out to take the storage ring she handed over. Pa. Wen Jiu's hand only slightly turned sideways, and the storage ring fell directly to the ground. She took advantage of the moment when Lu Yan relaxed his vigilance and suddenly raised her hand to knock away the other party's tightly held pistol. Then she quickly grabbed Lu Yan's wrist, turned around and hit the other party's chest with her elbow, and then quickly raised her elbow to hit the fragile chin. A set of movements flowed like water, and the attack was fast and fierce. Lu Yan caught the two blows unexpectedly, but fortunately, he was wearing a protective suit, so it didn't hurt. All is fair in war, how could she be obedient? What the hell, you're still trying to reason with me, are you okay? I don't know where Wen Jiu got the time to talk. She climbed onto Lu Yan's shoulders with both hands, after she faced him, and then wanted to push him down, to feel her knee attack. But Lu Yan's reaction was faster than she thought. He put his arm around her waist and made her lean forward, and at the same time, he quickly swept her calf with his leg, which made her lose her balance and fall to the ground. But Wen Jiu would never let herself suffer. Before she fell, she hooked Lu Yan's neck, making him fall down with her unexpectedly. Bang! They both fell to the ground. Wen Jiu only felt that she was so heavy. How could this handsome boy look so thin but so heavy? Get out of the way. You're going to crush me to death. She let go of her hand that was hooked around his neck and pushed his shoulder hard. Hearing this, Lu Yan quickly supported himself with his arms. But after a fight, the mask was a little loose and it fell to the side when he fell just now, so he could only look Wen Jiu in the eye. I told you to get up, not to stand up. Although the weight on his body was reduced a lot, Wen Jiu still wanted to get up quickly so that he could run away. As he spoke, warm breath continued to spray out. Lu Yan stared at her bright red eyes in a trance, subconsciously moved closer, and said in a hoarse voice, "Give the things back to me." "Didn't I give them back to you? It's in the storage ring that fell on the ground just now." Wen Jiu looked at the face that suddenly enlarged in front of him, handsome and cold. It was hard not to suspect that Nuwa was partial when creating humans. But the other party's cold and distant expression, and the pair of cold eyes, made her always think in a bad direction. Some things that are not suitable to think about at this time, as expected. Such a beauty always easily distracts her. "No, you are lying to me." But Lu Yan no longer believed her words, unless she could take out the prey directly. "How could I lie to you?" Wen Jiu was about to continue to argue, but suddenly a deep male voice sounded. "The game is over. No further fighting is allowed. You two get up and follow me now." Today's second update has also been delivered, little angels. Please check it out. W equals. Chapter 557, Who Doesn't Like Chicken Soup 1. The first place in this hunting competition is Team 21. This is because Team 13 member Team 9 applied for separate settlement, and the prey of the other two members are not included in her total. So when calculating the ranking, Team 9 is a separate team, and this first place is not shared with the other two members. The nursery teacher slowly announced the results of this hunting competition. Wen Jiu successfully won the first place with the friendly help of other teams to borrow prey. As soon as this result was announced, Fei Junren and Yang Xiao's faces turned green. They originally thought that this little girl would withdraw from the competition due to physical exhaustion, but they didn't expect that the other party not only did not withdraw from the competition, but also won the first place. In fact, it doesn't matter if Team 9 wins the first place, anyway, they are a team, and will share the reward. Who knew that the other party actually applied for separate settlement, and formed a new team by himself, so that they can't share the ranking, and get the reward? The second place is Team 4, with a total of 93 prey. The third place is Team 7, with a total of. After the nursery teacher announced the results of the hunting competition, Teacher Yuan, who was standing next to him with a face as black as coal, stepped forward. "Stand at attention. What's the use of hunching your backs?" The first person to speak was the old instructor. He first glanced around, then continued with a stern face. "Although this hunting competition has ended successfully, it did not achieve the results we expected. Many students have applied for individual settlement, which is very inconsistent with the concept of friendly exchange, unity, and cooperation. I know you are not familiar with each other, but comrades in arms only establish friendships during combat. I hope that, before you want to fight alone next time, you will think about the truth, that there is strength in numbers. Do you want to be special and alone when you enter the military region in the future? Okay, I won't say anything else. This time we have to criticize a student, that is, student number 3 from Maomio's class. This student used his supernatural powers without authorization and maliciously hurt his classmates. Such behavior can be said to be very bad. Wen Jiu felt that this teacher Yuan was quite capable. As soon as he heard her, he knew that he was the material for the dean of teaching. It was just that the other party said too much, and she was already tired, and even more sleepy. Fortunately, Stephanie came over at this time. Wen Jiu, I thought I could meet you in there, but I didn't expect that I didn't see many people after going around, and then I was taken out by the teacher. By the way, has your fighting ability improved again? How did you catch hundreds of rabbits by yourself? Hearing this, Wen Jiu just grinned mysteriously. Lucky. She was able to win the first place, on the one hand, relying on the 10 rabbits of the stupid trio, and on the other hand, relying on the rabbits sponsored by Naven. But the most important thing is Lu Yan's help. If the other party hadn't been pulling her to dodge, she wouldn't have had the opportunity to switch from Lu Yan. She took advantage of Lu Yan's opportunity to run away and tentatively touch the bracelet on his wrist. She quietly probed into a trace of mental power to open the storage ring, and then exchanged it with chestnuts before stopping running. But in order to prevent Lu Yan from checking the storage ring, she deliberately made a cold-hearted gesture. So when she argued with Mingyu before, she was mainly diverting their attention. It has been said that no one can compare to her in acting. But what Wen Jiu did not expect was that Lu Yan did not go to the teacher. She thought that the other party, a 5 good student with high character, would go to the teacher to complain that she robbed after the end. It seems that this time she was judging others by her own standards. Now let me tell you about the punishment for the teams that are not in the top 10. Don't even think about having dinner tonight. Run on the Star Island for 2 hours first. Other teachers will come to arrange it after the end. Star Island is the floating island where the top 10 seedlings and students live. After teacher Yuan's voice fell, Stephanie instantly showed an unhappy look. Seeing this, Wen Jiu asked in surprise, "Didn't you get into the top 10? Yes, I don't get along with those 2 teammates, so we separated after entering. But that's fine. My luck is particularly bad. I only caught 11 rabbits after wandering in the mountains and forests for an afternoon." Stephanie thought that she couldn't eat delicious food tonight, and the whole person became dejected. Wen Jiu was about to comfort her when teacher Yuan added, "The same goes for the students in the Miomio class who didn't make it to the top 10. They will not have dinner and will be punished to run for 2 hours. After all, there are only a few people who can cook, except for Wen Jiu, who has a hobby of cooking and can be self-sufficient. The other seedlings have to wait for the nursery teacher to deliver meals." So after teacher Yuan said that the Miomio class would also be punished, number 8, number 6 and Stephanie sighed at the same time. It seems that except for the 3 of them, the other seedlings have made it to the top 10. Because the nursery teacher only reported the team number when reading the results, Wen Jiu could only judge by their expressions. However, before she had observed for long, she saw 2 huge bubbles floating over. Okay, don't walk around when you arrive at Star Island. Only students whose names and numbers are red can leave. Everyone else, stand still and wait to run laps. Teacher Yuan looked at them seriously and finally stopped his gaze on Wen Jiu. "The first place student, please maintain your strength and don't lose in the next competition." Wen Jiu always felt that this was a bit weird, but she didn't refute anything, just showed a bright smile. Seeing this, teacher Yuan felt a lump in his heart. He just didn't understand why this little girl took the first place. How could she catch so many preys alone? Later, after watching the surveillance and listening to teacher Shaolin's report, he realized that the little girl had robbed several students and got the first place by such a despicable means. To be honest, he didn't like this despicable means, but there was no ban on robbery before the competition. Now that he was taken advantage of, he could only swallow his anger. The more he thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt, and he could only look away to let everyone prepare to enter the floating bubble. "Wen Jiu, why did that old man look at you just now?" Stephanie came over again. Although teacher Yuan had a few strands of white hair on his head, his actual age was less than 45 years old, and he was really not an old man. Therefore, Wen Jiu almost laughed when he heard this. "I don't know, maybe he thinks I'm pretty." The floating bubble always moves very fast, and it soon returned to the star island where they lived. Wen Jiu walked out after her name was called, but she turned back after a few steps and happened to meet the sight of Lu Yan, who was standing in the front. The other party still had that indifferent and cold look and only looked at her for a moment before looking away. Seeing this, she snorted and walked away quickly. This is the third update of the day. Thank you again to the little angels for your support. 030 Whisper. If the little angels who follow the update find that there are fewer chapters in the update and the author has not explained it, it means that the missing chapter was eaten by the system. One chapter of last night's update was eaten by the system. Damn. Fortunately, it was released during the day. Chapter 558. Who doesn't like chicken soup too? Who Kiki, help me cut this chicken into pieces and wash it, then put it in a pot, and add some ginger slices, to boil to remove the fishy smell. Wen Jiu started to get busy, as soon as she returned to her residence. While she ordered Hukiki to deal with the chicken in the refrigerator, she found a small basin, and poured the picked chestnuts and mushrooms into it. Then she ran out in a hurry, dug some juicy lettuce in the yard, and picked a lot of newly ripe peppers. When she returned to the kitchen, Hukiki had already chopped the chicken neatly and was about to cut some ginger slices and put them in the pot to simmer. Oh, why hasn't Stephanie come back yet? He looked curiously at Wen Jiu, who was peeling lettuce next to him. Could it be that she can't come back? Hukiki had been dissatisfied with Stephanie for a long time, and he hoped that she would think it through and move away. Now that he saw that only Wen Jiu came back, he began to fantasize about a better life without Stephanie. Hearing this, Wen Jiu first washed the shaved lettuce, and then while slicing it, he talked about the reason why Stephanie didn't come back. You actually want to bring her food? Hukiki poured the chicken nuggets and ginger slices into the pot. You are so good to her. The second half of his sentence was full of sourness. After all, he had never enjoyed the treatment of Wen Jiu bringing him food. Am I not good to you? I not only taught you to practice, but also taught you various spells, and even the cooking skills were taught by hand. Wen Jiu said, while processing chestnuts and mushrooms, which were the ingredients to be used when making soup later. But after she finished speaking, Hukiki's face climbed up a layer of blush. Ying, sure enough, I'm the one you love the most. He seemed to feel a little embarrassed, and as soon as he finished speaking, he turned back into his fox body, and then ran to the kitchen door, and curled up into a ball. Seeing this, Wen Jiu did not chase him to tease, because she was still busy making diced rabbit with hot peppers. She took out 3 rabbits that had lost their breath from her storage ring. She had asked the nursery master for them, after she had settled her account, and had specifically picked these rabbits that were just the right size and fat. Anyway, these rabbits would be disposed of after the game, so she might as well take some back to make rabbit cubes with hot peppers or dry pot rabbits. So she packed a few rabbits and took them away after getting her storage ring back. Rabbits are so cute. Of course you have to eat them. After Wen Jiu quickly processed the rabbits, he used a kitchen knife to chop them into smaller pieces that were more flavorful, and then wash them before preparing the marinade. During this time, Hukiki had been lying at the door, like a motionless toy. It was not until the mouth-watering aroma filled the kitchen that he lazily turned over and transformed back into a child. Oh, are you awake? Wen Jiu glanced in the direction he was walking towards. Come here and help me add the chestnuts to the chicken soup, and continue to simmer it over low heat for an hour. Hearing this, he first washed his hands, and then did what the other party said. He gently lifted the lid of the pot, and the rich aroma of chicken soup hit his face. This chicken soup has been simmered over low heat for more than an hour. The already tender and delicious chicken and delicious mushrooms are paired together, and the aroma that rises up is fresh and fragrant. Wen Jiu saw that Hukiki had been lying in front of the stew pot, sniffing the diffused fragrance with an intoxicated look on his face. So he walked over and patted the other party lightly to remind him, you can't miss a mouthful of chicken soup, so put the chestnuts in quickly and then cover the pot. Hearing this, Hukiki reluctantly picked up the small bowl of chestnuts, poured them all into the chicken soup, and gently stirred it with a spoon, then covered the pot with a sad face. Seeing this, Wen Jiu chopped the peppers and asked, "We can eat it in another hour. Why are you putting on such a desperate expression?" Oh, you don't understand. How can a fox not like to eat chicken? When Ukiki smelled the fragrant chicken soup, she wanted to turn back into her fox body and find Wen Jiu to act cute in exchange for her chance to drink the chicken soup first. Because no fox can refuse to eat chicken. No. But he thought about his noble identity as a fox fairy and finally resisted the desire and stayed by the side. Wen Jiu glanced at him and smiled. "Well, you said the same thing when you ate grilled fish last time." She had caught a big fish in the pond in the backyard before, and with the choice of Ukiki and Stephanie, she made a hot and tempting grilled fish. At that time, in order to compete with Stephanie for the last piece of fish, the fox also said with tears in his eyes that no fox could refuse to eat grilled fish. But Stephanie didn't buy his cute tricks at all and snatched the last piece of fish in the blink of an eye. Similarly, Wen Jiu didn't buy Ukiki's cute tricks. She just handled the ingredients for the spicy pepper rabbit cubes in an orderly manner. When the chicken soup was about 10 minutes away from being cooked, she heated the oil in the pan and cooked the spicy and fragrant spicy pepper rabbit cubes. Various spices and chili cubes burst into fragrance in the hot oil and then poured in the chopped rabbit cubes and stir-fried for a few minutes. "Hey, fox, can you refuse to eat rabbit?" She put the fried spicy pepper rabbit cubes on the plate. "Do you think this is enough for the two of us?" Considering that Stephanie can't eat spicy food, Wen Jiu didn't try much rabbit cubes this time. After hearing this, Ukiki looked at the plate with shining eyes. "First of all, I can't refuse to eat rabbit, and secondly, I don't think this is enough for me." He is a fox who is still in the growth stage. If Wen Jiu didn't allow him to eat non-stop, he could clear out the food in the refrigerator in one day. Well, it looks like enough to eat. Wen Jiu ignored his words. "Go get some lunch boxes." Hearing this, Ukiki could only mutter a stingy guy and then ran to the cupboard to look for a suitable lunchbox. After he found a 3-layer round lunchbox, he saw Wen Jiu walk to the stew pot and opened the lid. The other party first stirred to check the boiling of the chicken soup, then turned back to signal him to wash the lunchbox and asked him to find 2 more lunchboxes of the same style. "Oh. Why do you need to find 2 more lunchboxes? Are we going to have dinner with Stephanie?" Ukiki asked while searching. "Could it be that you are out there messing around again?" Thinking of this, his expression immediately became alert. He had heard Wen Jiu say before that the other party had 2 friends here. Have they come to Star Island? He didn't want 2 more people to compete with him for favor at home. Now Stephanie is annoying enough. Hearing this, Wen Jiu didn't know why he felt guilty. "Ahem. Go wash your lunchbox first. I don't have time to mess around with other girls. I'm busy earning points to make friends." After hearing this, Ukiki looked at her suspiciously. Oh, don't lie to me. Wen Jiu certainly didn't lie to Ukiki. After dinner, she put the lunchbox into the storage ring and left the residence to go to the small square where students practiced. Today's first update has been successfully delivered. Please check it out. Little Angels. 030. Chapter 559. Teacher, I saw it. 1. The afterglow of the setting sun was like broken gold scattered all over the ground, and the deep purple and light red intertwined into a gorgeous picture, bright and gorgeous. The cool evening breeze blew slowly, and everything was so comfortable. However, the loud voices that sounded from time to time broke the peace. Don't think this is a punishment for you. Only pearls that have been polished many times are the brightest. Since you lost in this hunting competition, you should redouble your efforts to train and strive for progress. Use your sweat to light the lamp called success. Don't droop your faces and quickly finish these 10 sets of training movements. After you finish, you can go back and have a good rest. Teacher Yuan was a little thirsty while talking. He was about to take a cup of water to moisten his throat and saw a red and fiery butterfly figure floating out. Seeing this, he took a closer look and shouted, "Where is that student from Maomio's class trying to go? The extra practice hasn't ended yet. Come back." "But I've already finished it. Didn't you say I can rest after I finish it?" Stephanie suddenly fell in love with red these 2 days. Her long curly hair was dyed as bright as a hot flame, so she could attract the attention of students as soon as she appeared. It was mainly because of the butterfly painted on her face, which was painted with some special paint. The combination of orange, yellow, light blue, and green colors depicted a butterfly flapping its wings at her eyebrows. Such makeup is very eye-catching in the daytime. Today, the sky is getting darker and the light is slowly dimming. The butterfly on her face glows lightly in the darkness, which immediately attracts the attention of many students. Although Stephanie has always dressed exaggeratedly, she has a face with smooth lines and excellent bone structure, so she is beautiful, no matter how she tries. Such a dress is unique to her peers, but in the eyes of a straightforward person like Teacher Yuan, it is just too flashy and exaggerated. So after glancing at Stephanie, he said sternly, "I didn't see you finish the 10 sets of training movements," and before the teacher announced the official disbandment, "Even if you have finished, you should stand still. This is a rule that all students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy know." However, he could see that the 3rd Military District did not know how to manage students, so he did not care about Stephanie's leaving the team without permission, and only asked her to return to the team and do 10 more sets of training movements as a lesson. Who knew that Stephanie rolled her eyes? "Why? I want to go back and rest." She was lucky enough to stay here and accept the punishment before, so she would never listen to Teacher Yuan's words to let her continue to practice. Besides, the other party had said before that she could go back and rest after finishing, so why should she stay here and continue training now? After saying that, she turned around and hummed a little song and ran away, but she was stopped before she ran far away. "Come back. You have no rules." Teacher Yuan suppressed his anger and asked someone to stop the disobedient student. "Are all the students in your Myomio class so casual? It seems that you don't do enough training in your daily life. No 8 and number 6 of Myomio class, step out and be punished together with your number 10. After saying that, number 8 and number 6 looked at each other through the others. Then both of them walked out lazily. The former stood beside Stephanie without saying a word, while the latter raised the corner of his lips with his fingers and made a face. "Old man, why do you manage our Myomio class? You really think of yourself as our teacher? I'm tired and don't want to play today. I want to go back to rest with number 10. What can you do to us? These top 10 seedlings are the treasures of the seedling nursery teachers. As long as they don't do anything that violates the seedling manual, they can do whatever they want in the base." This can be seen from the treatment of Wen Jiu and Stephanie. After number 6 finished speaking, he put his hands in his pockets and walked towards number 8 with a smug look on his face. Although number 8, who was standing next to Stephanie, did not speak, the coldness on his face revealed everything. Seeing this, the students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy were very surprised. They have been good and obedient students since they entered the school. Although there are some arrogant thorns, these people only dare to show off in front of students, and almost no one dares to contradict the teachers in the school. After all, the Imperial Capital Military Academy is closely related to the 1st Military Region, and most of the teachers in the school are retired soldiers. It can be said that they are not only the teachers of the students, but also the military predecessors who are related to the students' future. Therefore, students rarely do things that provoke teachers, for fear that they will lose their places in the military region if they are not careful. Although they can choose other military regions after graduation, there are also grievances between military regions. For example, the 3rd Military Region and the 5th Military Region will secretly screen out students who graduate from the Imperial Capital Military Academy. Therefore, most of the students who choose to study in the Imperial Capital Military Academy are aiming to enter the 1st Military Region after graduation. But they were heading for the 1st Military Region, and it was impossible for the students in Myomio's class to change jobs, so it was understandable that they would talk back to the teacher now. "Do you really think I have no way?" Teacher Yuan's face was almost green with anger. He had never encountered such disobedient students, and now there were 3 of them at the same time. Before he finished his threatening words, he saw Stephanie smiling and said, "No, we know that you have many ways, but your ways are not suitable for us. Teacher, you are old. Don't get angry. Don't get angry and fall to the ground. I'm still young and can't bear this responsibility. After the words fell, Teacher Yuan felt angry and speechless. He shot a blazing flame directly at Stephanie, but the blazing flame was blown away by a fierce gust of wind before it reached the other party. You are still teaching us a lesson? Don't make me laugh. Number 6 held his head with both hands and blew a gentle whistle. No one could control his unruly temper. If it weren't for the sensor chip implanted in the back of his neck, he would have beaten up those seedling nurses. Seeing this, Teacher Yuan couldn't help but half closed his eyes and waved to the other teachers. They came to Brickstar this time not only for the open activities, but also to explore the real situation of the 3rd Military District and the 5th Military District. Therefore, more than half of the teachers who followed were active soldiers from the 1st Military District. His own ability level was not high in the Military District, only a mere level 6. But this level is the lowest value to enter the 1st Military District, and many students can't enter until they graduate from the military academy. Although the flames he just shot out only used 70% of the energy, the student called number 6 was able to easily dissolve it, which shows that the other party's ability level is at least around level 5. You must know that among the students who came to participate in this event, except for Lu Yan, whose ability level has always been unknown, there is only Ming Yu, who was hit by the Ming family with a potion to level 5, and the other students only have level 4 abilities. Therefore, Teacher Yuan immediately became alert and wanted other teachers to control these 3 people. Today's second update has also been delivered. Thank you for the support of the lovely little angels. 030. Small information that can be obtained. 1. The minimum recruitment standard for the 1st military region is level 6 superpowers. Whether it is an armed mecha soldier or an auxiliary mecha soldier, they must meet this standard to participate in the selection too. The minimum recruitment standard for the 3rd military region is level 4 superpowers. Mecha divisions and medical soldiers will have separate assessments. 3. Level 5 superpowers is a watershed. Most people will stagnate after reaching level 5. In simple terms, it is not difficult to advance from level 1 to level 5, but it is very difficult to advance from level 5 to level 6, and the higher you go, the harder it is to advance. 4. The superpower levels of the top 10 seedlings cannot be used as a serious reference. They are temporarily harmonized. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 560. Teacher, I saw it too. However, things did not go as he wished. Before he could say anything to arrest the person, he was interrupted by the sudden appearance of the seedling teacher. Teacher Yuan, you are meddling in other people's business by punishing my students in the Myomio class privately. Upon hearing this, Teacher Yuan noticed that several people in cloaks were coming over. Although the person walking in front was not wearing a mask, he was also wrapped in a thick cloak. He walked over and squinted his eyes to take a closer look and finally recognized that the person was the Myomio class teacher who had communicated with him during the day. Although the other party's words made him very unhappy, he had not really torn his face at the moment, and he was here with the students, who were not good at fighting. If they really made a fuss, it would be very disadvantageous for them. So he still tried his best to suppress his anger. Teacher Lee, you misunderstood. These 3 students violated the discipline. I'm punishing them according to the regulations. There is no so-called private punishment. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard number 6 scolding directly. Bullshit. What does the rules of your Imperial Capital Military Academy have to do with our Myomio class? You are just punishing us privately. No 6. Don't talk first. The nursery teacher called. Teacher Lee stepped forward. I watched the surveillance before I came here. Since number 10 has finished the training, why don't you let her go back to rest? After saying that, he glanced at Stephanie inconspicuously. It's really rare that the other party didn't go crazy and chop people with an axe on the spot. You know, every nursery teacher who has come into contact with number 10 has been chased and chopped with an axe by the other party under the electric current. Teacher Yuan frowned upon hearing this. Other students are still training, and I didn't announce the dismissal. According to the rules, she must stay where she is until I announce the dismissal after others have finished. Then she can leave to rest. TSK, isn't that the rule of your Imperial Capital Military Academy? I'm not a student of the Imperial Capital Military Academy, and number 10 and number 8 are not your students either. Why should you let them deal with me? Seeing this, Teacher Lee just wanted to wipe his sweat. Teacher Yuan of the Imperial Capital Military Academy is really good at picking people. Once number 6 gets angry, he can overturn the Star Island. If it weren't for the electric shock and paralysis that can punish the opponent, I'm afraid he would become a madman like number 10. But to be honest, there is no normal one among the top 10 seedlings. If you have to pick, it seems that only number 9 who has just been promoted is normal. Ahem. Number 6, please put some words aside for now. The teacher will solve any problems. Teacher Lee coughed a few times to remind him. Teacher Yuan, you are indeed wrong in this matter. Our Myomio class has its own rules. Although everyone is training together today, I think we should just abide by our own rules. Hearing this, number 6 just sneered and walked to number 8. If it weren't for the fact that the nursery teacher had repeatedly warned him, he really wanted to press those weak students to feel the cruel and painful electric shock punishment of their Myomio class. After hearing these words, Teacher Yuan's face turned even greener. Okay, abide by our own rules, right? Then how does your Myomio class punish students who want to rest without completing training? Well, we usually carry out some special punishments according to the situation. Teacher Lee felt that this person talked too much. He couldn't say that all the young seedlings would be electrocuted. Hearing this, Teacher Yuan suddenly laughed and clapped his hands, saying, okay, how should we punish number 10 who wants to leave without completing the training according to the rules of the Myomio class? Stephanie was combing her hair with her hands, and her whole face turned cold when she heard this. You old turtle, stop slandering me. I clearly completed 10 sets of training movements. After she said this, she blinked and changed back to a weird smile. Could it be that you didn't see it? It seems that your eyes are like they are not. Why don't I dig them out and keep them as souvenirs? After the words fell, the students who were still doing the training obediently were stunned. Teacher Yuan and other teachers of the Imperial Capital Military Academy couldn't help but make a gesture to welcome the battle. Only the nursery teachers and seedlings, who were used to it, still stood beside Stephanie without changing their expressions. Number 6 even leaned close to number 8 and joked, TSK, I thought she was no longer crazy, but she is still as crazy as before. After that, number 8, who had not spoken, said calmly, she has always been like this. The two of them were promoted to the top 10 seedlings at the same time, so their relationship is better than other seedlings. It's just that Stephanie has always been very familiar and a little crazy. She has provoked all the top 10 seedlings, so there is no seedling who doesn't know her personality and existence. Well, why are you all looking at me like this? Stephanie bit her finger lightly and laughed again. Don't worry, I'm just kidding, I don't want such ugly eyes. After the voice fell, number 6 laughed a few times in cooperation. Teacher Lee looked at Teacher Yuan, whose face had turned green, and quickly explained, Teacher Yuan, the child is ignorant and just joking. Please don't mind it. Since you don't care about this lawless student, don't blame me, old Yuan, for disciplining him today. Teacher Yuan was no longer in the mood to continue the war of words. Although his ability level was not high, he had always been an instructor for new recruits in the military region, and there was no troublemaker he could not discipline. After saying that, he took 2 steps at a time and walked towards Stephanie, but when he was halfway there, he suddenly heard a shout. Report. I saw number 10 complete 10 sets of training movements. I can testify for her. He turned his head when he heard the voice and saw Mingai closed her eyes and made a standard military salute. Seeing this, he felt his anger grow even stronger. Ming, don't help others to perjure yourself because you are soft-hearted. However, the other party just took a deep breath and shouted again. Report. I saw number 10 complete 10 sets of training exercises. I can testify for her. His words attracted the attention of many students, And now everyone had finished the extra training, so they all cast curious eyes on him. Well, Zayadaya, you actually testified for me. Stephanie has always not cared about other people's eyes. Not only did she not take the opportunity to clarify herself, she also put her fists on her chin to look innocent. Hearing this, Teacher Yuan stopped and walked to Mingyu again. Young Master Ming, I know you have a kind heart, but some kindness should not be abused. Be careful not to be bitten by the snake in the future. After he finished speaking, he patted the other person's shoulder. Just when he thought he had solved the problem, he suddenly saw Lu Yan with a cold expression. Teacher, I saw it too. Today's third update has also been delivered on time. Thank you again for the support of the little angels. =W=. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment. The author will answer the questions when he sees them, generally without spoilers. Suggestions will be adopted according to the situation. Chapter 561. Teacher, I saw it 3. Lu Yan's cold and low voice fell, just like the falling winter snow in December. However, no one present was in the mood to appreciate it at this time. Most of them were shocked that he would actually help, and the one he helped was a student in Miomio class who was completely unfamiliar to him. Teacher Yuan didn't know what to say for a moment. He didn't dare to scold the ancestor in front of him. Although Lu Yan is still a student of the Imperial Capital Military Academy, the other party has been in the military area most of the time, and can be regarded as a soldier in half of the military area. But no matter whether Lu Yan is a student or a soldier, he is not qualified to scold or punish the other party. Of course, unless Lu Yan took the initiative to violate the regulations of the military academy or the military area. But the other party now stood up to speak for the students of Miomio class, which is not a violation of the rules in terms of emotion and reason, so he is even less qualified to scold. Seeing this, number 6 couldn't help but raise his voice and said, TSK, it seems that there are still a few upright gentlemen in your Imperial Capital Military Academy. After the voice fell, Teacher Lee could only glare at him as a warning. Although everyone knows that the relationship between the 1st military region and the 3rd military region is not good, there are still some things that need to be treated with leniency. Moreover, the reason why the 1st military region sent people to visit this time is obvious, so the superficial friendship should be maintained. Teacher Yuan, since there are 2 students here who can testify for number 10, I will take these children back to rest first. No 6 and number 10 have always been tactless in their words. Please forgive me, Teacher Yuan. I will definitely criticize and educate them later. Teacher Lee felt that the seedlings could not be allowed to stay here any longer, especially number 10 who would carry an axe and chop people everywhere when she went crazy. This girl was not easy to deal with when she went crazy. If it was normal, she could at least be shocked, but at this moment, there were people from the 1st military region present, and if something really went wrong, he would not be able to control it. In addition, number 6 was not someone who could be easily dealt with, and he did not want the secrets of the base to be exposed. So after he finished speaking, he wanted the other seedling growers to come forward and take away the seedlings they were responsible for. But Teacher Yuan suddenly changed the subject and said, I won't mention whether number 10 has completed the training, but she and number 6 and number 8 should be punished for talking back to the teacher, right? Since Mingyu and Lu Yan were willing to testify for number 10, he couldn't hold on to the training. But he really couldn't swallow this breath. Besides, this matter is a student talking back to the teacher and being punished, and it is a big deal that the 1st military region and the 3rd military region are competing. He can't let the 1st military region lose face like this. This question really stumped Teacher Lee. There is really no rule in the rules of high quality seedlings that prohibits verbal confrontation with the nursery teacher. This is mainly because the nursery teachers who usually come into contact with the seedlings are not of high level, and the master said not to overly restrict the seedling's own personality and temper. Therefore, in the rules that high quality seedlings and the top 10 seedlings need to abide by, this rule prohibiting verbal confrontation with the nursery teacher was cancelled, and only the rule prohibiting any form of attack on the nursery teacher was retained. Teacher Yuan, they are just young kids, don't mind them. Teacher Lee thought about it and decided to take the seedlings away first. I see your students are exhausted, so let's go and have a good rest today. He didn't understand why Teacher Yuan talked so much. If they hadn't been ordered to be polite, he would have asked other seedling growers to use violence. Hearing this, Teacher Yuan first walked out of the students' queue, then slowly approached Teacher Li and said, "I didn't expect that the 3rd military region would teach students like this. No wonder some students would use tricks to win in the competition." At this time, Wen Jiu, who had eaten and drunk enough to deliver food, passed by. She heard the noise in the small square 10 minutes ago and didn't expect to meet someone here to bully her when she came to deliver food. "Teacher, you didn't stipulate that we can't snatch other people's prey during the competition. It's a bit sour to say that others won by trickery now. Besides, even though it's a joint training, it doesn't mean that we are really under your control, and our Miomio class is such a free and easy atmosphere." When Jiu felt that she could say anything to her face. She hated those who seemed calm and indifferent, but were doing things behind her back. At worst, they could just fight to solve it. Why say bad things about her behind her back? As soon as she appeared, she attracted the attention of many people, especially Stephanie, who was on the verge of going crazy. "Xiao Jiu, are you here to take me home?" Her temper gradually stabilized. "That ugly old man is so scary. Xiao Jiu, you have to protect me." Seeing this, number 6 and number 8 didn't say anything because they were not familiar with the new number 9. Although people come to challenge the top 10 from time to time, only a few can succeed in the challenge. Therefore, even if the top 10 seedlings are not close friends, they know each other's existence in the long run and can say hello when they meet. Of course, the one who is least welcomed by the seedlings is Stephanie. The other top 10 seedlings would rather avoid her than say hello to her. It is also because of this that after the new number 9 came to Star Island, except for number 3 who took the initiative to visit her, the other top 10 seedlings were unwilling to contact her. I guess so. When Jiu ignored the looks from others and walked straight to Stephanie. "I'm not only here to wait for you to finish your training, I also brought you some delicious food." Hearing this, Stephanie's last bit of irritability also dissipated. "Xiao Jiu, you are so nice to me. You really deserve to be my good friend." After that, she grabbed Wen Jiu's arm and showed off to number 6 and number 8 with a happy face. "Look, she has good friends too." Seeing this, number 6 sneered and leaned towards number 8. "I also have good friends, so stop showing off in front of me, okay?" Seeing this, Teacher Yuan felt that the anger in his heart was burning even more, especially the impolite and irritating words of number 9. He had long felt that number 9 was a disobedient and troublesome student, but he didn't expect that the other party would dare to go against him openly. "The reason why I didn't make a rule to prohibit robbing other people's prey is because I think everyone is a moral person, but I didn't expect that there would be a villain who would take advantage of this loophole." He was about to continue to scold number 9, but he saw the other party sneer and said, "Yeah, I didn't expect that the students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy would come to rob a weak girl like me. Isn't it just standing on the moral high ground to accuse people who can't do that?" Today's first update is delivered on time. Please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 562. Get to know each other again. 1. When Jiu just had this idea at the beginning. If she hadn't been robbed by the students of the Imperial Capital Military Academy, she would have really planned to catch rabbits honestly. Although she later went to rob other people's prey, she dared to take responsibility and didn't say that those students were immoral. Since there is no regulation prohibiting it, it is not excessive to do so. Besides, who doesn't participate in the competition to win? She didn't break any rules of the competition. Why did Teacher Yuan say that she did something wrong? If she must find out what she did wrong, she only felt that she robbed Lu Yan, which was indeed a bit wrong from a moral point of view. But there is no way. She must win. Getting the first place can get up to 30,000 points, and then she can find a way to get people together. She must let Zikingayu and Kyoshishi regain her memory before the next challenge starts. Otherwise, when the next challenge starts, she thinks that with the personalities of these two children, they will most likely try to challenge herself and Stephanie. Wouldn't that be like a flood flushing the Dragon King temple and family members fighting against each other? After Wen Jiu finished speaking, Mr. Yuan's old face instantly turned red. He knew that his students had gone to rob, but he was not moved at all when he saw the surveillance footage, and even thought it was a normal competitive behavior. But later, when he saw the students in Miomio's class also started to rob, he just felt that the other party's methods were extremely despicable. To put it bluntly, it was double standards. But he had already said so much, and it was difficult to take it back, so he could only bite the bullet and continue talking. I didn't just say that you were immoral. I will also give corresponding corrections to those students who did the same thing later. But judging from your behavior in all aspects today, I have a word for you. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have connections. Little girl, your vision is still too small. These words really made Wen Jiu and other young seedlings laugh. If they had connections and backers, they wouldn't have been caught and forced to train in the base. So Wen Jiu cleared his throat and said, Teacher Yuan, in this case, I will also give you a word. The colorful world is fascinating. Don't show off if you don't have the ability. As a human being, you should be proud. But if you are given face, you have to take it. She just saw Teacher Yuan's flames, which were easily broken by number 6. So she thought that the other party had time to teach her here, so it would be better to strive to move up a level at this age. Who knew that, as soon as she finished speaking, number 6 suddenly sang along, the right way in the world is vicissitudes. Don't live too arrogantly. Don't confront me head on, I will be injured, and you will lose your life. After speaking, the two looked at each other silently. After confirming their rise, they were all two-way quotations people. But Wen Jiu didn't expect that the recipes were almost lost these days, and two-way quotations could still be circulated among the citizens of the Federation. This really shocked her. Teacher Yuan had never been criticized by a student with such words, and she was so angry that she shot many burning hot fireballs in the direction of Wen Jiu. Seeing this, Wen Jiu half closed his eyes and constructed a shield in front of him, while Stephanie and number 6 also took a fighting stance. However, the fireballs were soon blown away by a breeze, and after the breeze, snowflakes fell from the sky. Wen Jiu has always been afraid of the cold, so he could only use his fingertips to ignite a flame to bring himself a little warmth. Teacher Yuan originally had a raging fire burning in his heart, but after he saw the crystal snowflakes falling, he realized how outrageous he had just done. Teacher Yuan, you are overstepping your authority. Hearing this, he looked at Lu Yan, who had already walked to his side. Although the other party did not say anything harsh, even the words he used were very polite and appropriate. But the cold tone really made him a little scared. It was not because he was so afraid of the Federation star in front of him, but the other party's indifferent expression reminded him of that person. No wonder those people said that Lu Yan was the most likely leader. Teacher Yuan, the students have finished their training, and it's time to rest. Lu Yan reminded them again, and Teacher Yuan came to his senses and announced, disband. Go back to the apartment to rest first, don't make noise, and don't run around. Hearing this, although the students still wanted to stay here to watch the show, they didn't have a backer like Lu Yan, so they could only walk back every 3 steps to the apartment. Only Mingyu, who was still worried that he would be punished, stayed. First, he was waiting for Lu Yan to go back to the apartment with him, and second, he was worried that Teacher Yuan would continue to attack Stephanie. Even though he didn't like this crazy girl, his brother and his mother often taught him to be an honest and kind person, so he would take the initiative to stand up and speak for the other party. Wow, little iceberg, you are so nice. Stephanie didn't care about the awkward atmosphere at the moment, and she could even joke while combing her hair. You and Zhao Dawei are both good people. After the words fell, Lu Yan ignored her joking words, but Mingyu, who walked over, blushed. However, due to the presence of teachers, he could not refute anything, and could only let Stephanie tease him. At this point, Teacher Yuan could not say anything more. He just felt that Lu Yan's reaction was a bit strange. He was always indifferent, and didn't like to meddle in other people's business. Why would he be so kind to help the people in Miomio class today? Could it be that he found something abnormal, and needed to get close to the students in Miomio class? However, Teacher Yuan could not say more here, so he thought about asking Lu Yan later. So he snorted and said, Today I have seen the novel education method of the 3rd military region. I hope that Teacher Lee will not regret in the future for indulging students. In a way, what Teacher Yuan said was a prophecy. But these are all later words, and no one can predict what will happen in the future. After speaking, Teacher Yuan turned around and left angrily, and the other teachers also stayed away from this place of right and wrong at his signal. After they left, only Lu Yan and Ming Yu were left in the Imperial Capital Military Academy, but Teacher Yuan felt that no matter how rampant the people from the 3rd military region were, they would not dare to touch these two. Therefore, only the soldiers dressed as teachers were allowed to guard from a distance to prevent any accidents. Wow, everyone is gone. Number 6 yawned lazily. I'm going to go back and rest first. You guys can chat here slowly. After saying that, he pulled number 8 and walked towards the residence, and the nursery teacher in charge of them also hurriedly followed. Seeing this, Teacher Lee first looked at number 10 and then at number 9. You should go back and rest first. The teacher will take care of the rest. After listening to his words, number 10 just blinked obediently and said, Teacher Lee, I haven't thanked Xiao Daoer and Xiao Bingshan yet. As she spoke, she pointed to the remaining nursery teachers. Just let them go first, number 9, and I will thank them and go back to the residence. Today's second update is also delivered. Thank you every little angel for your support. W equals. Love you. Chapter 563 Get to know each other again too. Well, I thought you could take a break during training, so I packed a lunchbox and brought it here. It's okay, we can eat lunchboxes at home. Let's go. I want to go back and play with the little fox. Wen Jiu pushed open the door of the residence with some embarrassment. She didn't expect Stephanie to be so warm and hospitable. She originally wanted to stuff the other two lunchboxes to Lu Yan and then hurriedly pulled Stephanie home, but she didn't expect that the other party actually invited her to be a guest. What she didn't expect was that Lu Yan and Ming Yu actually agreed to it at the first time. This operation made it difficult for her to even say the words of refusal. Moreover, Teacher Lee and the nursery teacher who was responsible for taking care of them were more willing to let Lu Yan and Ming Yu go to residence number 9 than to let them wander around Star Island. At least there was nothing particularly shameful in residence number 9. When Jiu wanted to refute this point, there were really shameful things in her family. For example, Fox Kiki. Hey, you have a fat white fox at home? Ming Yu stared at Fox Kiki lying next to the sofa as soon as he entered the door. Furry animals can always make people let go of their unhappiness. Although he was very dissatisfied with No 9's behavior of snatching the prey, there was no rule prohibiting snatching in this hunting competition. What's more, everyone in the competition was aiming for the first place. The fact that others could snatch the prey under their noses by their own ability could be regarded as their inferior skills. So he didn't have too many prejudices against number 9. At most, he wanted to ask him why he didn't drop others. But now he was a guest in someone else's residence, so he still wouldn't say anything he shouldn't say. There was no need to spoil the atmosphere at this time. After listening to his words, Stephanie glanced at Fox Kiki who was still sleeping. Yeah, do you want to go over and touch it? She and Fox Kiki had always disliked each other. Only when Jiu mentioned those two friends would they temporarily form a camp. Hearing this, Ming Yu pursed her lips and turned her head away. I don't want to touch it. I just asked casually. He was still brooding over Stephanie calling him a bean sprout. He was so handsome, mighty and tall. How could he be called a bean sprout? Please sit down first. I'll get the food out. When Jiu originally stuffed the apology note into the lunchbox because she always felt a little embarrassed to face Lu Yan. Although she didn't think there was anything wrong with her trying to snatch the prey. After all, the rules of the game did not prohibit snatching other people's prey. But no matter what, Lu Yan saved her out of kindness at the time, so she felt a little guilty after the end. After she finished speaking, she was about to go to the kitchen, but Lu Yan followed her. Seeing this, she asked while sorting out the lunchbox, "What's the matter with you?" She thought to herself that this person was not here to settle the score. If she had known, she would not have let Stephanie bring people back, so as not to mess up her kitchen. Lu Yan watched her take out the lunchbox from the storage ring and scoop out the food inside with a spoon. He realized that this was an extra lunchbox prepared for him and Ming Yu. After all, number 9 was only close to number 10, so there was no need to prepare 3 lunch boxes and bring them to the small square. However, he did not ask number 9 anything. He was afraid that he was overthinking, and he had decided to let go of his feelings for the time being. When number 9 opened the last lunch box, a piece of paper folded into a small triangle fell out. Seeing this, Wen Jiu immediately reacted quickly. Oh, how did I put the recipe in there? She quickly squatted down to pick up the fallen small note, but she didn't know that Lu Yan was faster than her and picked up the small triangle on the ground in the blink of an eye. This is a recipe. There's nothing to see. She was a little flustered and wanted to grab the paper triangle, but unfortunately she was defeated because she was not tall enough. Lu Yan, who was nearly 1.9 meters tall, only raised his arm slightly, and she jumped angrily for a long time, but couldn't reach it. Wen Jiu kept jumping for a while and almost bumped into Lu Yan. Seeing this, she gave up struggling and said, "Forget it, just look." As she said, as long as she is not embarrassed, it is others who are embarrassed. But Lu Yan did not open the paper triangle as she thought, but slightly bent down to keep himself and her at the same height. He also handed the paper triangle back to her and said, "No, since you don't want to, I won't force you." Not bad, a very gentlemanly performance. It's a pity that Wen Jiu is not a gentleman, she is just an arrogant bandit. She didn't even hesitate to take the paper triangle. "Thank you, actually there is a little pretentious essay written on it." Little essay. Lu Yan's indifferent eyes revealed a trace of doubt. He couldn't understand why number 9 had to write an essay, and he stuffed this essay in the interlayer of the lunchbox. "Well, it's nothing special," Wen Jiu said as he lit the fire to heat up the chili peppers and iced rabbit. "Didn't I do something tricky to you during the game? I feel guilty and want to apologize." She was not a shy person, and now that it had come to this, she felt that it was better to speak directly. Hearing this, Lu Yan's eyes were more suspicious. "Why do you want to apologize? You didn't do anything wrong." Although he was a person who would abide by various rules, what number 9 did not violate the rules. So after the game, he just felt that he was not as good as others, and never thought of blaming number 9. He even wanted to find an opportunity to fight with him again. Wen Jiu had a rare feeling of being speechless. "Didn't you save me? But I turned my kindness into hatred and stole your prey. Aren't you angry?" After saying that, Lu Yan thought seriously for a moment before answering. "I will during the game, but not now." He can distinguish between the game and off the field. He will only resolve the grudges on the field, and he will not remember them off the field. After all, he has a lot of things to do and learn, and he doesn't have so much time to remember these grudges. Hearing this, Wen Jiu looked at him in surprise. She thought that Lu Yan, who looked so indifferent and ruthless, would remember grudges so much, but she didn't expect that she would judge a gentleman by her own meanness again. However, what she didn't know was that Lu Yan would only remember things he thought were important, such as the grudges in the game, and the other party had encountered too many of them. "Oh, it's okay, you think about yours, and I think about mine." Wen Jiu would not avoid these. "By the way, can you eat spicy food? Is there anything you don't like?" After saying that, Lu Yan pondered for a moment before shaking his head. There were too many ingredients he didn't want to eat, but his intuition told him that he was afraid that he would be kicked out by number 9 if he said it out loud, so he very wisely chose to keep his mouth shut. After Wen Jiu heated up all the food and served them on the plates, she turned around and looked directly into Lu Yan's eyes and said, "Since there is no grudge, let's get to know each other again. My name is Wen Jiu. Wen for warm, Jiu for long lasting. This is the third update today. Thanks again to the little angels for their support." 030. Chapter 564 Spicy Rabbit Diced with Spicy Peppers 1. Wen Jiu said this without any other intention. She thought that, since she knew Lu Yan's real name, he should know hers as well. So after she finished speaking, she took the dishes with food and walked out, leaving Lu Yan alone in the kitchen with his eyes lowered in deep thought. As soon as she walked out, she saw Mingyu trying to reach out to Hukiki, so she whispered a reminder that fox will bite people, don't touch it randomly. "Really? Pet foxes will bite people?" Mingyu had been trying to restrain his desire to touch small animals. He finally waited until Stephanie went back to the room to change clothes and wanted to take the opportunity to secretly touch the furry little fox, but he didn't expect that number 9 suddenly appeared and happened to see him reaching out his hand. Since he was caught, he didn't need to hide it anymore. Who doesn't want to touch a furry little fox? Really, he's very ferocious when he bites people. Wen Jiu said as he put the dishes in place, "Go wash your hands and come to eat. It's almost 10 o'clock now. If you don't eat, you'll starve to death." Hearing this, Mingyu reluctantly walked towards the bathroom. After he went to the bathroom, Luyan came out of the kitchen. He also consciously helped Wen Jiu bring chicken soup, so that the other party didn't have to go to the kitchen again. Seeing this, Wen Jiu smiled and thanked him, and introduced him that this bowl of chicken soup was stewed with chestnuts from the forest. Chestnuts can actually be stewed in chicken soup. I thought this thing could only be made with honey. Mingyu heard Wen Jiu's words as soon as he walked out of the bathroom. Because Mingyu has been doing food research and development, every time he went to his office, he could taste all kinds of novel snacks. In his impression, there was a kind of honey-made chestnut that was not bad, and he especially loved to eat this one during that time. However, he found it a bit too sweet after eating it, so he stopped eating it after a while. Of course, chestnuts can also be used to roast meat and duck, and they are also delicious when made into sugar-fried chestnuts. Wen Jiu said, and began to serve them chicken soup. Mingyu wanted to ask a few more questions, but Stephanie suddenly came out and ran to the table excitedly and sat down. "Xiao Jiu, I know you are the best to me." She looked at the food on the table with shining eyes. "I can't wait to start eating." As she said that, she picked up the soup bowl in front of her and took a sip. The clear soup burst into rich and delicious flavor as soon as it entered her mouth. The rich chicken aroma also has light sweet chestnut aroma, and paired with the ultimate delicious taste brought by wild mushrooms, every bite makes her indulge in a rich and fragrant ocean. Wen Jiu skimmed off the greasy floating oil on the surface. When tasting, not only can you appreciate the clear and elegant appearance of the chicken soup, but it can also make it more fragrant and delicious when you drink it. "Why did you start eating right away?" Mingyu stared at Stephanie with wide eyes. In his opinion, guests should sit at the table and wait quietly before the host starts eating. Although the other party also lives here, the host of this meal is obviously number 9, so he thinks such behavior is a bit impolite. However, Stephanie just tasted the chicken soup and said, "What else? These are made by Jiu specially for me. If I don't eat it, she will be so sad after that." She scooped up a piece of tender chicken, and a light bite made the delicious juice pop out. Then she picked up the chestnuts in the bowl, and she could taste the incomparable sweetness with just a sip. There were also mushrooms floating in the bowl, with thick meat and full of freshness. She was so satisfied with one bite at a time. Seeing this, Wen Jiu said, "You should sit down and eat too, otherwise the food will get cold later." After her voice fell, Mingyu quickly picked up the soup bowl and drank it. "What about you?" Seeing that she was going to the kitchen again, Luyan stood up from his seat, looking like he wanted to help. "I've already eaten." Wen Jiu waved his hand to signal him to sit down. "I'm just going to clean up the kitchen. You don't have to follow me. I can handle it by myself." Although the empty lunch boxes can be washed in the dishwasher, she still has to put the lunch boxes in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher can only show that it is powerless if they are left outside. Hearing this, Luyan sat back in his seat. Mingyu was already eating so much that he didn't know what to do, and he was immersed in the baptism of delicious food, so he didn't care about Luyan's abnormal reaction. He only cared about the chicken soup and rabbit cubes in front of him. The rich and fresh fragrance of the former made him forget his fatigue in an instant, and he felt that his whole body was surrounded by rising heat. The latter was so tender and hot that he couldn't stop eating it. He felt as if he was walking leisurely on the top of a volcano. But compared to the light and elegant chicken soup, he still preferred the spicy pepper rabbit cubes. But no matter which kind of delicious food, he lingered for a long time, silently sighing that his choice to come to Brickstar was right. Mingyu had eaten rabbit meat before, but those rabbit meats inevitably had a hint of fishy smell, and they were not tender enough. His family had extremely high requirements for food, so before tasting it, he was quite worried that he would not like this dish of rabbit with hot peppers. But when he really tasted the delicious and spicy taste, he wanted to let out a satisfied sigh to express how satisfied he was. The rabbit cubes were fried in hot oil, so they tasted crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Every bite perfectly showed the deliciousness of the rabbit meat itself. And this dish of rabbit with hot peppers brought not only a baptism of taste, but also an excellent visual experience. The oily and shiny rabbit cubes were mixed with golden and crispy potato cubes, and then served with chopped bright red peppers, and chopped small green peppers, and sprinkled with rice white sesame seeds to add fragrance. The combination of red and green is bright but not abrupt. Ming Yu even thought that this dish was good enough to be sold in the high-end restaurants of the imperial capital star. As he was thinking, he caught a glimpse of Wen Jiu walking out of the kitchen. "Hey, sister number 9. Can you sell me the recipe for the diced rabbit with hot peppers? My brother owns a restaurant, and all he needs is this dish as his signature dish." He felt that number 9 would definitely not be poached, but buying a recipe should not be a difficult task. His brother has been having a headache because of the congratulations on getting rich thing for a while, and if he could buy the recipe for the diced rabbit with hot peppers as a gift, he would be sure to be happy. But speaking of congratulations on getting rich, he felt that No 9's cooking skills were not inferior to his, and could even be said to be comparable. Although I really don't want to discourage you, I still have something to say. You don't even have a wisdom ring now, so where do you get the star coins to pay me? After Wen Jiu answered, she wanted to go to the bedroom to change clothes, but she stopped when she saw Lu Yan sitting there without eating. This is the first update of the day. Thank you little angels for your support. 030. Chapter 565. Their Secrets 1. Are you not used to it, or are you not hungry? Wen Jiu walked over with some doubts. It was the first time she saw someone not wanting to eat the food she cooked. Although she had encountered senior sisters who wanted to lose weight and did not want to eat when she was still in the modern world. But since she came to this world without much delicious food, as long as she cooked, people would rush to eat. Therefore, it was inevitable that she would feel a little surprised to see someone who did not want to eat. Hearing this, Lu Yan was thinking about how to answer this question, and saw Ming Yu sitting opposite him said vaguely, "Our captain has never liked to eat. He only loves the original nutrient solution. I didn't realize that your captain is still a ruthless person." Stephanie had eaten half full. "I don't like to drink the original nutrient solution. It's tasteless." The two people put aside their prejudices at the dinner table and started a discussion about which flavor of nutrient solution is the best. But Ming Yu's words made Wen Jiu feel a little embarrassed. She didn't expect Lu Yan to really not like to eat. "Sorry." Lu Yan seemed to see her embarrassment. "I think I should have told you earlier." He didn't mean to hide this. He just felt that Wen Jiu's kindness was hard to refuse, and he didn't know how to say no. Hearing this, Wen Jiu didn't know what to say, and it was indeed not Lu Yan's fault. In addition, the other party lowered his eyes at this moment, and his butterfly-like eyelashes cast a shadow, which looked quite distressing and broken. Okay, she was quite vulnerable to this trick. It's not a big deal. I won't blame you. Wen Jiu walked over with a generous face and patted his broad shoulders. Besides, there's no need to say those polite words between us brothers. After her voice fell, Ming Yu and Stephanie, who were chattering, became quiet. They turned their heads in unison. The former's face was full of horror, while the latter had an expression of watching the fun and not minding the trouble. Seeing this, Wen Jiu fell into confusion again. She didn't say anything wrong. If they are not brothers, then they are sisters? Lu Yan was not very good at communicating with others. Now he became dumb when he heard this. He could solve all the tasks by his own ability, but he didn't know how to communicate with Wen Jiu. Fortunately, Ming Yu and Stephanie were not talkative. They quickly broke the awkward atmosphere. "What kind of brothers are you and my captain? How can brothers fight against brothers? Xiao Jiu, don't forget that I'm your best friend. Without my permission, you can't be brothers with Xiao Bingshan." Hearing this, Wen Jiu immediately said, "Ming Yu, your captain didn't correct me. Why are you so anxious here?" She only refuted Ming Yu's words. After all, Stephanie's words were too difficult to answer. She felt that, no matter what she said, she would easily fall into the other party's death trap. She didn't want to see Stephanie go crazy at home. You. Forget it. Mingyou took a bite of the rabbit indignantly. As the saying goes, the mouth of the one who eats the person is short, and the hand of the one who takes the person is short. He didn't bother with this little girl tonight. Little bean sprout, why have you become a little stutterer? Stephanie immediately diverted her attention. Eat more, you'll grow taller, like a red mushroom. She suddenly came closer with her hands on her cheeks, almost scaring Mingyou to drop the bowl in his hand. Why are you getting so close? You're so rude. He wanted to finish his meal and go back to the apartment quickly. He felt that something would happen if he stayed any longer. For example, he would be killed by the crazy girl in front of him. He felt scared just by looking at her expression. So he picked up the bowl and sat on the sofa, thinking that he would take Luyan away after finishing his meal. As a result, Mingyou just walked to the sofa and found that the little fox who had been sleeping before had woken up, and the other party was still staring at him with his wet eyes. He felt that his heart was about to melt. Wen Jiu hadn't noticed all this yet. She was thinking about how to explain to Luyan. I don't mean to be your sworn brother. She thought for the first time that chatting could be so difficult. I just had a brain attack, you know? But what she didn't know yet was that Luyan also found chatting difficult. Well, Luyan's tone was a little gentler than usual. Then what is our relationship? After saying that, Wen Jiu didn't know why she felt strange. But she didn't think about it seriously, just answered in detail. Friend, if you don't want to be friends with me, it's okay. After all, she only thought so unilaterally, and she was not like Stephanie, who would force others to be her friends. Hearing this, Luyan's sharp eyebrows were stained with a bit of joy. He was about to say that he didn't want to, but heard Mingyou shouting in panic. Fuck, there's a ghost. Mom, there's a ghost. Ah. The other party ran towards him with a bowl in his hand. Seeing this, Wen Jiu instantly felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, the next second, Hukiki appeared in human form. The other party jumped off the sofa, put his hands on his hips and cursed. Where did you come from, you little brat? Do you think you can touch this fox fairy? Do you know that this fairy is the ancestor of your ancestor? It's okay that you slandered this fairy for biting people. You even want to pluck my hair to make a hairball. Do you have any morals or manners? This fairy will teach you a lesson today. After the words fell, Mingyou had shrunk behind Luyan. He put his bowl on the table and then said aggrievedly, I was just joking. I didn't really pluck your hair. And it was number 9 who said you would bite people. The topic suddenly fell on Wen Jiu. She looked at the huddled Mingyou and then at the swaggering fox Kiki and suddenly felt that her brain was going to be messed up. How should she explain the fox turning into a human? Mingyou's IQ is about the same as that of Zikingyu, and it is easy to fool. But Luyan's unkind appearance doesn't look like someone who is easy to fool. 99 is not wrong. I will bite you to death today. Although Fox Kiki was angry, he still remembered that Wen Jiu was his master and teacher. As for why he suddenly changed from a fox to a human, it was mainly because he thought the man in front of him knew that he was a monster. After all, Wen Jiu had brought the other party back. If he didn't tell him that he was a monster, it would be inconvenient for him to move around. Brother Yan, save me. How can an animal turn into a human? Mingyou quickly hid behind Luyan after hearing this, fearing that he would be caught and eaten by this weird creature. However, the other party just stood up expressionlessly, apologized to 99, and strode away. Seeing this, he quickly chased Luyan out, not wanting to eat even the last bite of food. Before Wen Jiu could react, the two disappeared without a trace. Wow, the little fox is in big trouble. Stephanie laughed happily. Congratulations, you are really going to be made into a furball now. Hearing this, Hukiki's expression instantly changed from anger to confusion. The next second, Wen Jiu picked up the rolling pin with anger on his face and shouted, Monster! Take my stick. Today's second update has also been delivered. Please check it out, my lovely little angels. W equals. Chapter 566. Their secrets too. Fuck. Brother Yan, what kind of creature is that? It can actually transform from a fox into a human. I was almost scared to death. I didn't touch it because I heard from number 9 that the fox would bite people. But Stephanie told me that if I touched its tail, I wouldn't get bitten. Mengai was much shorter than Lu Yan, and he almost couldn't catch up with the other party because he was walking fast and fast. Then I tentatively touched its tail twice. It just looked at me with a very cold look at first. I was still wondering why this pet fox was so smart, but I didn't expect it to transform after I said a few words. He felt that Stephanie was mainly to blame for this. If she hadn't said that the little fox's tail could be touched, he wouldn't have touched it without permission. And he really didn't have any bad intentions. He just felt that the fox's furry tail was very comfortable to touch, so he casually said that it would be nice if the fur could be made into a fur ball. Unexpectedly, the fox bared its teeth in the next second, and in the blink of an eye it turned into a child about 10 years old. Although he was not afraid of children as a teenager, he was really scared by the sudden transformation. Mengai wanted to complain a few more times, but he and Lu Yan just walked out of the elevator and ran into Teacher Yuan, who was guarding the door of the room. "Are you back from visiting your classmates in Miomio's class?" Teacher Yuan came over as soon as he saw them, and there were a few unfamiliar teachers beside him. Hearing this, Lu Yan just nodded slightly without saying much. Mengai replied in a panic, "Sorry, Teacher Yuan, we didn't report when we were out." He was just thinking about eating dinner and asking about number 10 and number 9 and forgot about reporting for a while. "It's okay, classmate Lu asked me for it." Teacher Yuan remained calm. "Classmate Ming, if you are okay, go back and rest first." After the voice fell, Mengai hesitated. He was wondering if Teacher Yuan was going to punish Lu Yan. But the other party did not violate the rules of the Imperial Capital Military Academy. Seeing that he was still hesitating, Lu Yan patted his shoulder and said, "You go back first." In this case, Mengai could not ask any more questions and could only walk slowly towards the room. After he entered the room, Teacher Yuan made a gesture of invitation to Lu Yan. They walked around and came to a utility room. After waiting for other teachers to set up the soundproof barrier, Teacher Yuan cleared his throat and began to ask questions. "Master Lu, I wonder if you have any new discoveries? All the so-called teachers here have been replaced by soldiers, and even Teacher Yuan was sent here by the 1st Military Region. He was originally an instructor specializing in training new recruits in the 1st Military Region, so his words and deeds would abide by the rules so strictly. However, most people have double standards, and even Teacher Yuan, who is famous for his fairness, is no exception." Seeing that he was still quite respectful, Lu Yan said coldly, "Please tell Chief Lu that I have found clues for the mission he ordered. If nothing unexpected happens, we can get actual evidence before the end of the activity." After saying this, Teacher Yuan immediately showed a look of joy. "Really? It seems that number 9 is indeed the breakthrough point. I will ask others to keep an eye on it later. The 3rd Military Region must not have thought that we already have clues. Although the girl number 9 is a little bit violent, she seems to have a low IQ and is easily angered. I will arrange for others to investigate her more." Although he didn't like No 9's performance in his heart, he learned from the psychoanalyst that the other party's unruly people are the easiest to fall into the net. Now Lu Yan went to No 9's residence and got a clue, which shows that this little girl is indeed the breakthrough point of this mission. "Teacher Yuan, I don't like others to interpret what I say without authorization." A cold blue light flashed in Lu Yan's eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, Mr. Yuan suddenly felt an unbearable headache, as if there were bugs drilling in his brain. This intense pain made him gasp. "Master Lulu." Hiss. "Sorry." He couldn't even say a complete sentence and could only try his best to keep himself calm. Lu Yan's eyes were full of sinisterness at this moment, and his extremely cold expression made others dare not step forward to dissuade him, and they just stood by and pretended nothing happened. It was not until Mr. Yuan was tortured by the headache and begged for mercy on the ground that he withdrew his mental power and stepped on the other's hand. The air suddenly stagnated for a moment, and Lu Yan's upturned phoenix eyes were stained with a thick black, and he looked down at Mr. Yuan, who was lying on the ground. Mr. Yuan, you should know what to say and what not to say. I will let Mingyu investigate the matter of number 9. I hope you will not act without authorization before I find evidence, he said in a flat tone while increasing his strength. The light in the room reflected his cold white skin, and the lines of his facial features were more sharp and distinct under the overlapping light and shadow. Teacher Yuan fell to the ground with a red face and cried out in pain. The intense pain almost made him cry. Lu Yan was satisfied when he saw his extremely painful expression. I don't like others to speculate on my thoughts without authorization, and I don't like others to ruin my plans. I hope you won't make the same mistake again next time. After saying that, he broke the soundproof barrier with an indifferent look on his face and then left the utility room without looking back. After he left, the people next to him dared to step forward and help Teacher Yuan up. Why is young Master Lu different from the rumors? What's different? Didn't you hear Lao Liu say that the one who looks most like the leader is Lu? Upon hearing this, Teacher Yuan first calmed down and then hurriedly warned them, enough. No one is allowed to tell anyone about what happened today. Go back and read the rules carefully. It's not that he is so generous, but because Lu Wen who is still the person in charge of the first military region, so even if Lu Yan is committing a crime, he dare not say anything. And the soundproof barrier here has been erased by Lu Yan, so he naturally can't let others continue to talk nonsense. If these words are heard by the people of the third military region, it will be difficult for them to carry out their mission this time. However, what he didn't expect was that Lu Yan's mental power was so strong that he broke through his sea of consciousness in a short moment. If he is really a person who can be called the star of the Federation, it seems that the future power of the first military region will fall into the hands of the other party without any accident. In this case, there is no need for him to care about these things, so as not to bring trouble to himself and make his wife and children suffer. So after he waited until the pain that penetrated deep into his bones disappeared, he quickly made a gesture and led the others out of the utility room. But they didn't notice that all this was recorded by the camera hidden in the dark. As the saying goes, the devil is always stronger than the righteous. Even if they cleaned up all the recording equipment in advance and used the instruments they brought with them to interfere with the equipment. But this is the territory of the 3rd military region and the 5th military region after all, and they can't make all their methods public. Many secrets are still unknown. Today's 3rd update has also been delivered. Thank you again for the support of the little angels. 030 love you. Whispering, review. I really didn't write anything weird. Don't harmonize my bullcack. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Rescue. Oh, I don't know if they don't know I'm a monster. I thought you told them about me. Kiki was huddled in a corner with grievance. He had just been chased by Wen Jiu at home for a long time. And Stephanie was also wrong. If she hadn't instigated others to touch me, how could I resist turning into a human form? The more he thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt. Obviously Stephanie and the stranger were also wrong, but Wen Jiu only beat him up. Hearing this, Stephanie said while peeling an orange, "Why did you drag me to take the blame when you did something wrong? It's really strange. I just said that you can touch your tail," and the rest of the words were said by Mingyu. Besides, Jiu has told you so many times to turn back into a fox when there are outsiders. I didn't force you to turn into a child. After the words fell, Kiki immediately showed an angry expression, and he wanted to tear the person who instigated the fire to pieces. However, the other party not only showed no fear, but even put on an expression of watching a good show. "Little fox, why are you staring at me?" Stephanie threw a slice of orange in front of him. "Come, eat a slice of orange to cool down." Seeing this, Kiki felt that his anger was even stronger. He recalled what happened before, snorted coldly and said, "Oh, I think you need to eat more oranges to cool down. At least hide your spring feelings. I feel ashamed for you." After saying that, he picked up the orange and threw it back at Stephanie. The other party quickly stood up and perfectly avoided the orange slice. Well, I like Xiao, but I like you too. Stephanie's expression didn't change at all. Can this be considered as love? Then I have too many things in my heart. When Ukiki heard this, her face turned red and she retorted, you like me? Can you stop talking nonsense? Who would frame the person they like? Of course I like you, as long as they are good people. I like them all. After Stephanie finished eating the orange in her hand, she picked up a pear and nibbled it. But you and Xiao each have your own advantages. For example, Xiao won't make breakfast and midnight snacks for me. So from this point of view, I still like you more. As she spoke, she found that Ukiki's fox ears popped out. The other party hesitated for a long time before speaking shyly. My charm is very great. It's normal that you can't resist it, but you know that humans and demons are different? And how can you like two people at the same time? This is a very immoral behavior. Whenever Ukiki's emotions fluctuate greatly, he will forget to make his own fox calls. For example, when he scolded Mingayu before, and now he was filled with shame and anger. After she finished speaking, Stephanie just came over and squatted down, chewing a pear while answering seriously, why not? But you really think too much. My favorite is still Xiao. She is my only one. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Wen Jiu coming out. After taking a shower, the other party stared at them with disdain and said, first of all, eating oranges will not relieve your heat. Secondly, please don't talk nonsense under my nose. Finally, our goals have not been achieved yet. You have to put aside your love for the time being, okay? Wen Jiu finished her shower half an hour ago, but she has been thinking in the room, and did not come out to talk to the two people. But Stephanie and Ukiki's voices are very loud. Even if she didn't intend to eavesdrop, she could hear their conversation clearly. That's right, Xiao is right. Stephanie was the first to agree. Ukiki, you have to learn more. Hearing this, Ukiki hurriedly shook his head and said, this immortal doesn't think about those things. Practicing and learning spells are my lifelong pursuit. He finally turned from a fox into a fox spirit, so naturally he had to practice hard to become an immortal. Okay, let's talk business now. Ukiki, get up first. I didn't ask you to kneel here. When Jiu saw Ukiki kneeling in the corner, as soon as she came out, although she was angry that the other party suddenly turned into a human, she was not so excessive as to make people kneel down at every turn. Besides, this matter can't be blamed entirely on Ukiki. She actually has part of the responsibility. She should have woken up the other party when she just came back, and then gave him a good warning, and this wouldn't have happened. After she finished speaking, Ukiki stood up with a pout, and turned her head to glare at Stephanie fiercely. When Jiu went to take a shower, after beating him just now, he originally wanted to make some midnight snacks, to atone for his sins. But Stephanie mentioned what happened last time, and coaxed him, that he just needed to repent. That's why he ran to the corner and knelt, waiting for Wen Jiu to come out of the shower after calming down. The first place in this hunting competition is 30,000 points. Add to that the points from the two previous challenges and the points accumulated from my classes and training. It's more than 40,000 points in total. I asked the nursery teacher who takes care of us before, if I want to get both Zikingayu and Kaioshishi, I need a total of 50,000 points. Now, there are two problems to be solved. One is how can I save the remaining points, and the other is, can you accept two more people? After Wen Jiu finished speaking, he observed the expressions of Ukiki and Stephanie. She naturally didn't have to worry about the former, because the other party couldn't find another cultivator who could practice. But she was still on guard against the latter. After all, there was no reason for the other party to keep pestering her like this. This matter was strange, no matter how you think about it. So the two questions she asked were actually asked to the two of them separately. But no matter how they answered, she would unswervingly go to get Kaioshishi and Zikingayu. After a while of silence, it was Ukiki who spoke first. It's as if you won't go to rescue them. If I don't accept it, I don't care. But where will they sleep after they come? There is only a guest room and a master bedroom on the first floor. They can't sleep on the sofa like me. Hearing this, Wen Jiu shook his head and said, don't worry about that. We can just renovate the second floor when the time comes. The second floor was originally empty. At most, we can make a partition and put 2 beds in it. There will always be a solution. In this case, Hukiki didn't have anything to say. After all, he ate and lived at Wen Jiu's place, so he really had no position to refute. Then we are just a little short of 50,000 points. Stephanie suddenly opened up. It just so happens that I still have more than 8,000 points here. How about adding them up and seeing if it's enough for 50,000? This is the first update of the day, please check it out. Little Angels 030. Chapter 568, Rescue 2. After she finished speaking, Wen Jiu immediately showed a happy expression. But after the joy, she couldn't help but become suspicious. She remembered Stephanie said that in order to move in with her, she spent all her points. So, where did these more than 8,000 points come from? However, the other party seemed to see her doubts and said with a smile, while twisting her hair with her fingers, I also got bonus points during the previous challenge. Okay, quickly calculate whether the total is enough for 50,000. Hearing this, Wen Jiu retracted her inquiring eyes. She had already accumulated 43,000 points, and now with Stephanie's 8,000 points, it was enough for 50,000 to rescue people. So she thought for a moment and then continued, seriously, if I use your 8,000 points to rescue people, do you have any conditions to propose? She felt that Stephanie was not the kind of person who would selflessly contribute. When she approached the other party before, she was asked to exchange 1 for 1, so she didn't think that this time she would contribute points unconditionally. After the voice fell, Stephanie's smile became brighter. She even came over and said in a cheerful tone, Jiu, I know you know me very well, but I don't have any conditions. I just hope you can always believe in me, just like you believe in those 2 children. After that, she yawned sleepily. Okay, then you can go to the nursery master to exchange during the day and just say that our points are counted together. Your friends are my friends. I hope they won't be jealous because of my good relationship with you. After all, I'm your best friend. Hearing this, although Wen Jiu didn't understand why Stephanie said this, but she still nodded and gave an affirmative answer. Okay, I will always believe in you. It's getting late, you should go to bed early. Seeing that she got up and wanted to go back to the bedroom, Hukiki quickly chased after her and grabbed her and said, have you thought about how to explain me to them? Although he likes his fox body very much, it doesn't mean that he is willing to be treated as a pet. If he could only exist as a pet fox after Wen Jiu's 2 friends came, he felt that he would become depressed sooner or later. Don't worry, I've thought about it a long time ago. Wen Jiu rubbed his fox ears to comfort him, and then turned and walked towards the bedroom. Hukiki realized that he had not had time to retract his ears. It's all Stephanie's fault for teasing him just now. Oh, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. He was about to pounce on Stephanie, but the other party quickly got up and hid far away. Yes, it's all my fault. Okay, you little fox really holds a grudge. Stephanie took an apple. After she finished speaking, I'll go back to my room to rest first. You stay outside slowly. Good night, little fox. Because Hukiki can turn back into a fox, and it's small and doesn't take up much space, the sofa became his exclusive bed. Hearing this, he didn't chase Stephanie to make a fuss anymore. Although he said that he didn't care about Wen Jiu bringing someone home, he actually cared about this matter in his heart. After all, he had been wandering outside for such a long time before. Now he finally met someone who could understand him, but the other person had someone he cared about more in his heart. It was impossible for him to let go easily. But to put it bluntly, he was just a freeloader. He had no magic and no fighting ability. He didn't know anything except the skills of the Fox clan. The more Hukiki thought about it, the sadder he felt. Especially after he realized that he had no say. The whole fox fell into a depressed mood. Ah, little fox, why did you become like this? Stephanie came back at some point. She looked at the fox in front of her with interest. Are you jealous secretly? Oh, don't talk nonsense. How could this immortal be jealous? This immortal is very generous. Hukiki turned back to his fox form with a bang, trying to hide his sad expression. As a result, he was picked up by Stephanie the next second. She held his long and big tail and swung it twice, then threw him back to the sofa while laughing. Little fox, you are more fragile than I thought. If you are unhappy, just say it out. You are not afraid of being depressed. Stephanie still had that smiling look, but her next words made Hukiki stunned. I don't want those two kids to stay here, but there is no way. Who let Jiu think so important about them if possible? I really hope they will never remember Jiu. In this way, no one can replace my place in Jiu's heart. Hearing this, Hukiki felt inexplicably creepy. He knew that Stephanie was not normal, but he didn't expect her to think like this. Although he didn't want Wen Jiu's friends to compete for his favor, he never thought about it in that way. Oh, did I scare you? Stephanie said with a distressed look. I was just joking. Jiu's friends are my friends. Okay, I won't say anything. I'm going back to my room to pick out gifts for them. She walked towards the guest room, shaking her head. The guest room had been decorated to her liking. The grey pink walls were painted dark red, and the floor was covered with layers of black wool carpets. The dressing table was filled with all kinds of cosmetics, and there were also scattered ornaments on the floor. Stephanie didn't like too bright light, so she only turned on the flower bud-shaped table lamp at the head of the bed. In such dim light, the room had a weird sense of horror. She searched for a long time in the overcrowded closet before she found a half black and half white bear. Well, I'll give this to the little girl. The classic black and white color scheme plus the red button eyes. It couldn't be better. After saying that, Stephanie threw the bear behind her and started looking for a gift for another person. It wasn't until a buzzing sound came that she walked impatiently to the dressing table. She swept the cosmetics on the table and picked up the wisdom ring hidden at the bottom. 301. Start implementing the plan. Stephanie read the message casually and then threw the wisdom ring into the pile of jewelry. It's so annoying. I haven't played enough. She picked up the bear that fell on the ground. Little Jiu. Little Jiu, don't forget your promise, she muttered to herself while hugging the bear tightly with an extremely weird smile on her heavily made up face. I have paid a lot for you. If you betray me, I will kill you. This is the second update of today. Thank you for the support of the little angels. W equals. Whisper. Stephanie's brain is really abnormal, so I hope everyone will curse softly, gesturing with fingers. Chapter 569 Experiment 1. When Lu Yan returned to the room, Mingyu had already fallen asleep on the sofa. So he deliberately lowered the sound of closing the door and found a thin blanket for the other party to cover himself. Just as he was about to wash and change clothes, Mingyu suddenly said in a daze, "Well, brother Yan, you are back." Yeah. Lu Yan did not stop for this. Seeing this, Mingyu quickly shook his head to wake himself up. "Brother Yan, did Lao Yuan make things difficult for you? You don't know that I have been worried for a long time." Teacher Yuan was not originally a teacher at their Imperial Capital Military Academy, but the Imperial Capital Military Academy would invite people to teach from time to time. And Teacher Yuan happened to be invited to teach at the Imperial Capital Military Academy, so Mingyu and other students knew this person. Most of the teachers from the 1st Military Region are very fierce, so Mingyu was still worried about Lu Yan. After returning to the room, when we took the elevator up just now, I saw Lao Yuan and other teachers standing at the door, and I felt my heart stopped beating. As he spoke, he asked carefully, "Lao Yuan shouldn't punish you, right?" He didn't. Lu Yan answered this question before closing the door. He was thinking about other things at the moment and had no intention of talking to Mingyu about Lao Yuan. Wen Jiu. He muttered the name while taking out the doll from the storage ring. In addition, he also took out the so-called amulet given by Sun Badao. If the cotton doll is a coincidence, then the paper triangle can't be a coincidence too, right? He has studied the method of stacking this paper triangle. Unless it is folded again according to the original folding, it can be stacked the same paper triangle as Sun Badao. If he stacks the triangle himself, he needs to practice repeatedly to stack it 90% similar. And Sun Badao has a little habit when stacking triangles, that is, he will scratch the paper lightly with his fingernails. Coincidentally, the paper triangle folded by Wen Jiu also had the scratch left by the nail. Lu Yan had only suspected the relationship between him and Sun Badao before, but he had never thought that the two were the same person. One or two similarities can be said to be coincidences, but people's habits are difficult to change, especially this kind of habits that exist silently and are difficult to detect. It is not easy to change them in a short time. Now it seems that his thinking is still not broad enough. He picked up the cotton doll and touched it gently, as if treating the most precious collection. If Wen Jiu is Sun Badao, he is very glad that he did not report him and did not lose this hard-earned friend. As Lu Yan thought about it, he found a very strange place. Whether it was the intelligence he received before he came, or his own discovery after he came, he could conclude that the use of wisdom rings was prohibited on Brickstar. Those teachers in the 3rd military region seemed to be wearing wisdom rings, but in fact they were new technologies developed by the 5th military region. They imitated the system of the Star Network and built a network for the use of people in the 3rd and 5th military regions. However, this imitation system also has disadvantages. That is, it cannot be connected to the real Star Network. In other words, it is impossible to log into the Star Network account using this technology. So the question is, how did Wen Jiu use the regular wisdom ring to log into the Star Network world? Thinking of this, Lu Yan couldn't help but think of their mission this time. The agent of the 1st military region who was previously planted in the 3rd military region sent intelligence that the latter and the 5th military region were still secretly conducting human experiments. As soon as this information was passed to the 1st military region, it was immediately sent to his father. 3 years ago, the 3rd military region successfully aroused the inextinguishable anger of all federal citizens because of the exposure of human experiments. This matter was a sensation on the Star Network, and those federal citizens also organized a parade on their own to protest against the inhumane behavior of the 3rd military region. At the same time, many federal citizens also questioned other military regions. This involved the alliance of the 3rd military region, the 5th military region. Although it is a good thing to find an ally, when the 5th military region was exposed, other military regions were also scolded. The worst scolded one was the 1st military region, but the head of the Federation at that time was not his father. The head could not withstand the pressure from the citizens, so he resigned and left, and then his father took over under pressure. Although Lu Yan hated his father, he had to admit that he did manage the Federation very well. As soon as Lu Wenhu came to power, he rectified the 3rd and 5th military regions with great vigor and personally took soldiers to the 3rd military region's research institute to rescue the experimental subjects. However, it is very difficult to establish a military region, and it is also difficult to disband a military region. Therefore, Lu Wenhu only cleaned up the senior officials of the 3rd and 5th military regions and selected a group of suitable people from several other military regions to arrange for them to take over the 2 military regions. After all, the 1st military region is the sovereign military region of the Federation, so naturally they cannot send people from them to take over. Later, everyone thought that the human experiment was over, but they did not expect that they received this information again a year ago. However, the information sent by the agent at that time was not complete, so his father could only take more precautions. It was not until a few months ago, when they had accurate information, that he and Lu Xi began to investigate the matter. Just as Lu Yan recalled this, he heard Mingai knocking on the door. Brother Yan, Teacher Yun just knocked on the door and said that tomorrow is a free activity without training, so I will go back to my room to sleep. After saying that, the other party hummed a song happily, and the sound of footsteps was heard again. It was not until the sound of the door closing that Lu Yan pinched his eyebrows. He thought Mingai had discovered something, but he didn't expect that he was just here to pass on a message. But it was okay this way. He didn't want to involve the other party. But when he thought that Wen Jiu was likely to be an experimental subject, his whole mood became agitated. Lu Yan knew how cruel human experiments were because he was kidnapped when he was very young. Unfortunately, he became the first experimental subject. Although he was soon found by Lu Wenhu, he had been injected with a gene of the snow leopard. This caused his genes to become disordered every once in a while. If his genes were not stronger, he would have lost control and become a ferocious beast. Those people had not yet served the 3rd military region. They were just a group of lunatics who gathered on their own. In addition, Lu Wenhu was unwilling to disclose the true situation, so he only used the power of the Lu family to eliminate them. After that, Lu Wenhu always claimed that Lu Yan had a genetic disease and used this as an excuse to recruit many people to study drugs, so that even his biological brother Lu Xi thought so. But after so many years, he has tried all kinds of medicines and soaked in all kinds of medicinal soups, but still has not found a real solution. So Lu Yan knew very well that the life of the experimental subject was painful. This is the 3rd update today. Thank you again for the support of the little angels. 030, Auditor. I really didn't write anything weird. Don't lock me. Cac. Chapter 570 Experiment 2. Star-Lord, I have something important to report. Hearing this, Liang Yi teased the pretty beauty beside him while looking impatiently at the masked man who was coming. He hated it most when others disturbed him at this time, but there was nothing he could do because he was assigned to manage Brickstar. Baby, I still have something to deal with. He kissed the beauty in his arms with a doting look. I'll come to find you when I'm done. After the words fell, the beauty groaned and said, you always say this, and you disappear when you're busy. Be good when I'm done. I'll ask someone to buy the new ring from H brand. Liang Yi was already a little impatient. Although this beauty's coquettishness won his heart, it was inevitable that he would feel disgusted if she did it too many times. Really? Then I also want the new bag of M brand that will be launched soon. The beauty immediately turned over and smiled sweetly, leaving a lip print on Liang Yi's face. But the next second, she fell to the ground stiffly. Drag him out. You are so ignorant. Liang Yi took back the gun with disdain and wiped his hands with a tissue. Okay, if you have anything to say, just say it quickly. Don't waste my time. He didn't even bother to give the beauty on the ground a glance, even though she was still acting coquettishly and laughing in his arms a few seconds ago. The masked man standing by seemed to be accustomed to it. Soon someone came to drag the stiff body out, and even the glaring blood stains on the ground were cleaned up. Star-Lord, Plant No. 3's emotions have stabilized, and the results of the latest experiment are also out. After the mess in front of him was cleaned up, the masked man in charge of reporting the situation stepped forward. While reporting, he opened the light curtain and pulled out the latest report from the research institute. Hearing this, Liang Yi took the e-cigarette handed over by others, puffed out smoke for a long time before lazily saying, the situation at the research institute is faster than I thought. Since the emotions of plant number 3 have been controlled, we can consider arranging the release link in advance. His men sent new intelligence a few days ago. The people from the 1st military region really came for investigation this time. After he reported this information, he received an order to immediately implement the awakening plan. Plant number 3 is a very important part of the plan. If plant number 3 can be retrieved in advance, they can arrange the release in advance, so that the subsequent plan can proceed smoothly. Okay, Star-Lord, I will be responsible for communicating with the researchers and ask them to send plant number 3 back to the base as soon as possible. After receiving Liang Yi's order, the masked man first gave the order to other people and then continued to ask, Star-Lord, the nursery technician in charge of number 10 has sent a message saying that number 10 has been refusing to communicate these days. Hearing this, Liang Yi couldn't help but sneer. Refuse to communicate? Does she think that number 9 can save her from here? Or does she think that number 9 can help her find that person? After the voice fell, the masked man in front of him just lowered his head and dared not speak. Seeing this, he spit out another light smoke ring and said, you can ask someone to give her the clue of that person later, but before giving it to her, remember to ask her to send the latest situation in exchange. Yes, the masked man asked hesitantly, but the clue of that person has been interrupted. I'm worried about number 10. Before he finished speaking, he was hit by Liang Yi's electronic cigarette. The other person glanced at him very coldly. So what if it's interrupted? Do you think that number 10 can detect the problem in her current state? After saying that, the masked man did not dare to refute anything. The reason why number 10 has been able to stay in the base and not enter the next stage all these years is, on the one hand, because she keeps hovering between the top 10 and the last position. On the other hand, it is because she is that person's biological sister. Liang Yi has always wanted to find the missing person, so he used some means to detain number 10 on Brickstar. If that person comes to save his biological sister in the future, he can take this opportunity to keep the other person here as well. However, in order to prevent number 10 from escaping like that person, he sends people to inject number 10 with drugs every once in a while, so that the other party's mental state is becoming more and more disordered and manic. Liang Yi felt very irritated when he thought of the woman who dared to play tricks on him. So he took a deep breath and said, "You can add a little more medicine to number 10. Anyway, she is very crazy now, so she doesn't need a little bit." Yes, the masked man regained his composure again. These are the pictures taken by the camera. The people in the first military region have begun to look for clues. While reporting, he turned the screen and switched to the video sent by others. A tall figure appeared on the screen. The other party was stepping on the person on the ground with a cold expression. The teachers standing around lowered their heads and dared not say a word. TSK, like father, like son. Liang Yi looked at the picture with interest. This young Master Lu and Chief Lu are really similar. He had met Chief Lu at a cocktail party before, but at that time, the other party was not the chief, but the current head of the Lu family. I heard that young Master Lu is very talented, especially in terms of mental power. No one in the Federation can match him. Hearing this, the masked man understood and answered, "Yes, it is said that young Master Lu is the next commander-in-chief designated by the 1st Military Region. I remember that Commander Luo is only 40 years old this year, and he has been designated as the next commander-in-chief." Liang Yi half squinted his eyes and looked at the person on the screen. Then his mental power is higher than Commander Luo. The current commander-in-chief of the 1st Military Region is named Luo, and he is currently the person with the highest mental power in the Federation. If you want to succeed this person as the next commander-in-chief, then the strength of your mental power must not be weaker than that of the other party. In this way, the strength of this young Master Lu is really not to be underestimated. I just don't know who is stronger, the other party or his most proud plant. As Liang Yi was thinking, he turned his head and looked at the masked man and said, "I remember that the Imperial Capital Military Academy will leave in 9 days. You try to bring plant number 3 back before they leave. I want to see, is number 3, that I ordered to be modified, stronger, or is Chief Lu's darling stronger?" Friendly exchanges between students. I believe that the people of the Imperial Capital Military Academy will not refuse. After speaking, the masked man hesitated for a long time, but in the end said nothing. He only retrieved the message from the nursery master in charge of number 9. "By the way, Star-Lord, number 9 has submitted 50,000 points, and she has applied to live with number 161 and number 176. Because you were busy with other things before, I didn't have time to ask you for instructions. Now it has been 3 days since number 9 applied." Hearing this, Liang Yi picked up the bottle and took a big gulp. "Why ask me for instructions? Didn't I say to meet all her requirements? What's more, number 16 and that guy exist to promote the plan. Okay, Star-Lord, I'll give the order now." After the masked man finished speaking, he sent a message to the nursery masters in charge of number 9 and the 2 seedlings. "This is the first update of the day. Please check it out, little angels. 030, whispering, because there are many little angels asking recently, so I will answer them uniformly in the post. If nothing unexpected happens, the jail plot will end this month." Chapter 571 Friends Gathering 1. Late at night, when Kao Shishi had just finished washing and was about to go to rest, she suddenly heard a hurried knock on the door. She first walked to the door with low footsteps, and then carefully looked out through the cat's eye, and then she found that it was her nursery master who came. But she did not relax her vigilance because of this. She even ignited a cluster of flames on her fingertips. The other party had never come to her so late, so she was very worried that something bad would happen. "No 161, please open the door, I have something to tell you." All the seedlings have a chip implanted in the back of their necks. This chip can not only emit current to control them, but also provide the nursery masters with their location. Therefore, as early as when Kyoshi just arrived at the door, her nursery master saw it from the positioning map. No 161. If you don't open the door, I will take tough measures. Hearing this, Kyoshi pushed the door open with a click. When the nursery teacher saw that she was finally willing to come out, she glanced at her and began to say, "Seedling number 9 has invited you to live in Star Island and become her roommate. If you are willing, I will send you to Star Island at 8 o'clock tomorrow, which is where the top 10 seedlings live." Kyoshi was confused by these words. She and seedling number 9 had only met twice, so why would the other party suddenly invite her to live on Star Island? So she asked hesitantly, "Excuse me, are there any conditions for living together? And does living together mean living with number 9? Then what about my usual training?" "There are no conditions, you just live under the same roof." The nursery teacher answered her question very patiently. "Your training will still be the same as before, and I will pick you up at 8 o'clock every morning." In other words, her life will basically not change, she will just have one more roommate. That would be even more strange. She heard from other seedlings that the top 10 seedlings already lived together, so it was unnecessary for number 9 to ask her to be a roommate. Besides, she remembered that number 9 and number 10 were friends, so even if they were looking for a roommate, they shouldn't ask her. Just when Kyoshi was lost in thought, the nursery teacher asked again. So she thought quickly for a few seconds and immediately accepted no 9's invitation. No matter what the other party's purpose was, she always felt that she should agree first. "Okay, I'll pick you up at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Remember to put your personal belongings in the storage ring." After the nursery teacher gave the instructions, he left here, leaving Kyoshi leaning against the door frame and lost in thought again. Whenever she had time during this period, she would think about the past. As she recalled, she found many loopholes and unreasonable places. For example, her acquaintance with Zikingai was too strange. To be fair, it was actually difficult for her and the other party to become friends, because their personalities were completely different, and even many of their concepts were different. She felt that she could not be friends with such a proud young master. But they were just confused and became friends who could talk about everything and rely on each other. And she moved out after falling out with her family. To be honest, she was very clear about her seemingly stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat, but in fact, her fragile and vulnerable character. She didn't think she could really make up her mind to break off relations with her parents and move out to support herself by working. In Kyoshi's memory, whenever she stood at the crossroads of decision, there was always someone who supported her unswervingly. This made her become good friends with Zikingai, and also allowed her to break away from her very bad original family and become the free and easy her. But what made her very sad was that the person disappeared from her memory. She couldn't find any memory of this person at all and could only capture it from some broken fragments. Alas. The more Kyoshi thought about it, the sadder she felt, so she forced herself to pull herself out of her memories. She then thought of the fact that number 9 had invited her to live together. In fact, she didn't know him at all, but there was a voice in her heart that told her to agree. It was strange that when she first met number 9, she had an indescribable sense of familiarity, as if she had met an old friend she had known for a long time. Wait, could the person in her memory be Kyoshi? Thinking of this, she became excited. She quickly closed the door and thought while packing up. If number 9 was the person in her memory, then not only could she recover her memory, she could also help Zikingai recover her memory. Because she and Zikingai had talked about memory loss before, they suspected that the missing part of the memory was about the same person. So now she especially wanted to meet number 9 as soon as possible, so that she could ask him if he really knew her. Not only did she think so, Zikingai, who was also invited, also wanted to meet number 9 as soon as possible. It's just that there is a certain gap in their IQs, so they don't agree on number 9. 9's intentions are too obvious. She must think that Shishi and I are easy to fool, and she wants to trick us over to be her spies or something like that. Zikingai muttered while packing his things. He always felt that 9's invitation to live together was very strange. If he hadn't heard the nursery teacher say that Shishi would also go, he would not have agreed to go to Star Island and live with 9. Hey, why is my shirt wrinkled? I have to find an iron to iron it. Zikingayu had just folded his uniform when he found that his shirt was wrinkled. He subconsciously wanted to find an iron, but he found something wrong as soon as he stood up. He is a pampered young master. Even if he was caught and suffered from the training, after being brought to the base, he should not have the ability to do housework. Thinking of this, he remembered the painful time when he was a dishwasher in his memory. Is he crazy to wash dishes in the cafeteria? And he was a waiter who delivered food in the restaurant, and he even had to do odd jobs in his spare time. He is not short of money. Why would he want to suffer so much? The more Zikingayu thought about it, the more ashamed he felt, but he only remembered that when he first worked as a dishwasher, it seemed that someone used words to coax him into going. Later, he was unwilling to admit that he took the initiative. Zikingayu, just for a meal, are you willing to do this? He threw his shirt on the bed. If I think of that person, I will cut him into pieces. How dare you let me be a dishwasher and order me to deliver food and do chores? How abominable. Thinking about it, he muttered to himself. At this time, on the other side, Wen Jiu, who was ordering Hukiki to do things, sneezed several times in a row. Today's second update has also been delivered on time. Thank you to every little angel for your support. Whisper. I slide down and kneel down in front of the little angels who are following the update. Because I was caught and waited in line for a long time for nucleic acid today, I didn't have time to produce the third chapter. Woohoo. Cack. I hope the little angels can understand. I will make up for the third update during the day. TT. Finally, I remind you that everyone should take good protection recently. Chapter 572 Friends Gathering 2. Hukiki had just washed the basin full of crabs when he heard Wen Jiu, who was cutting vegetables next to him, sneeze wildly. Seeing this, he couldn't help but raise his mouth and said, Oh, I asked you to work so late. Is this retribution? HU. What retribution? Wen Jiu paused for a moment and continued to cut vegetables. Sneezing can be considered retribution? Oh no. Hukiki got up and took the basin of crabs to the sink. You saw that you sneezed so many times just now, which means that you will soon catch a cold. Hearing this, Wen Jiu glanced at him. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. Be careful or I will pluck out all your fox hair. She will be able to see Kaioshishi and Zikingayu tomorrow, but don't let Hukiki's bad words come true. Although the cold is not a big problem, she took the trouble to get so many crabs just to make a plate of butter to welcome Kaioshishi and Zikingayu. This boiled butter can be used not only for noodles, but also for rice. It tastes rich and delicious, and people can't help themselves. She also hopes to use this boiled butter to wake them up. But crabs are cold in nature and are not suitable for people with colds. If Hukiki is right, then she can only watch others enjoy the delicious food. Wow. Then can't I make bowls with those hairs? I don't know where Stephanie came from. Half an hour ago, she said that she was sleepy and wanted to go back to her room to rest, but now she sneaked into the kitchen again. Hearing this, Hukiki's face instantly turned red. Oh, why are you all like this? I treat you as my friends, but you treat me like a ball of hair. Just kidding. I can't bear to pluck your hair. Seeing his shy and annoyed look, Wen Jiu couldn't help but smile and change the subject. These crabs are all sent by the nursery. They are very fresh. I will use some of the crabs to make some butter tonight, and then make the remaining crabs into spicy crabs during the day. As she said this, she remembered that Stephanie couldn't eat spicy food. So she added, I will take out a few more to steam. Steamed crabs with vinegar are also very delicious. Hearing this, Stephanie was stunned for a moment, and then she showed a happy smile. She didn't expect Wen Jiu to remember her taste. She thought that he always cooked as he pleased and made whatever dishes he wanted, so she always ate silently and never mentioned that she couldn't eat spicy food. A warm current that she didn't know how to describe suddenly flowed slowly in her heart. Oh, then I strongly request that you make more spicy crabs. Hukiki shouted in dissatisfaction. Jiu, you can't be partial. How is Jiu partial? She said spicy crabs first, and then steamed crabs. You little fox just doesn't know what's good for you. Be careful or I'll pluck all your hair tonight, Stephanie said as she raised her hand to tickle Hukiki. Seeing this, Wen Jiu shook his head helplessly. Kyoshi and Zikingai were already noisy enough, and now with Stephanie and Hukiki, she's afraid that she'll be noisy all day and all night. Okay, both of you go to bed quickly. She brought over the crabs that Hukiki had washed. I won't be busy for long here, and I can rest. The method and process of making boiled butter are actually not difficult, but it takes more time to disassemble the crabs after steaming them. Hearing this, Hukiki and Stephanie looked at each other. Then the two of them walked to the kitchen door in tacit understanding, but neither of them wanted to rest. They just sat cross-legged at the door and looked at Wen Jiu quietly. Seeing this, Wen Jiu first put the crabs into the steamer and then took out a small piece of ginger to cut the ginger paste. Okay, then I will slowly do my own thing. She knew that the two were worried that she would be busy for too long, so she didn't want to urge them again. So she continued to concentrate on her own work. After the crabs were steamed, she first disassembled the crabs in an orderly manner and took out the crab roe and crab paste used to make boiled butter. Because the real boiled butter only uses crab roe and crab paste, the crab meat is separated and eaten separately, so she put the crab meat in another small bowl. Although it is very time consuming to disassemble the crabs, Wen Jiu's movements are not slow at all. In less than half an hour, she disassembled a full pot of crabs. Then she took out the lard that had been boiled before from the refrigerator and boiled it in the pot together with the crab roe and crab paste that had been separated. The sizzling sound of oil bubbles continued to sound in the kitchen, and at the same time, a rich and mellow oil fragrance spread. Gudang. Hukiki swallowed his saliva with shining eyes. Hearing the sound, Stephanie couldn't help but smile and leaned over. Little foxy, you so greedy? Who wouldn't be greedy after smelling this fragrance? Hukiki answered in a low voice, fearing that Wen Jiu would be disturbed while he was making boiled butter. After hearing his answer, Stephanie also lowered her voice. You are right, it's a pity that you can't eat such fragrant boiled butter. Why can't I eat it? Hukiki looked at her with a puzzled look. However, the other party just shook his finger mysteriously. Because these are prepared by Jiu for others, I'll tell you another bad news when the two children come tomorrow. I'm afraid there will be no place for you at home. After hearing this, Hukiki instantly showed a vigilant expression. He knew that Wen Jiu attached great importance to the two people who were about to come, but he never thought that he would be kicked out. Stephanie was very satisfied with his reaction. Oh, I just mentioned it casually, you can pretend you didn't hear it. But just as she finished speaking, she heard Wen Jiu's cold voice. Stephanie, if you are sleepy, go to bed early. Why are you talking in your sleep before you go to bed? Hearing this, she raised her head and happened to meet the other person's eyes and immediately felt that her thoughts were seen through. But she still pretended to be indifferent and spoke in the same happy tone as usual. Jiu, are you chasing me away? I just want to accompany you more. Have you forgotten your old love when you have a new love? Hearing this, Wen Jiu poured some rice wine into the pot and replied indifferently, they are my old loves, not my new loves. You'd better think about some things before you say them. Only the slow reacting Hukiki didn't notice the problem. He was still immersed in the temptation of boiled butter. She even conjured up fox ears and a fox tail and said coquettishly, Jiu, when the boiled butter is ready, can you let me have a taste? Of course, I won't ignore you, just because Shishi and Kingai are here. After Wen Jiu finished speaking, she looked at Stephanie meaningfully. She always felt that the other party was a little strange during this period. For example, just now, Stephanie was trying to instigate Hukiki to rebel. Although those words didn't sound directed at her, the other party targeted Kyoshi and Zikingai, which was equivalent to going against her. So she wouldn't give Stephanie this opportunity. Sorry. Today's third update is finally made up. Cack. Thank you little angels for your understanding and support. I wish you all good health. Chapter 573 Crab Roe Noodles 1. This is it. Residence number 9 has opened up to you. The two nursery masters took Kyoshi and Zikingai to the periphery of the residence. Because they did not have enough authority, they could only send the two seedlings to the outside of the residence's do not disturb protective shield. Just follow this gravel road and you will reach the residence number 9. We will come here to pick you up at 8 o'clock every morning in the future. There will be no changes to the courses and training you should take. After giving instructions, the nursery masters made way and signaled that they could leave. Seeing this, Zikingayu glanced at Kaioshishi, who was still in deep thought. He thought that he was a man who stood tall and upright, so how could he let a little girl walk in front of him? So he took a deep breath and took the lead in stepping onto the gravel road leading to the depths of the woods. Come on, let's go together. After he tentatively took a few steps forward, he wanted to pull Kaioshishi behind him to walk together. Who knew that, before he finished speaking, the other party pushed him aside and ran forward. Seeing this, he was stunned for a moment and then hurriedly chased after him. However, his physical fitness has never been as good as Kaioshishi's, so he couldn't catch up with her after running for a while. Shishi, wait for me, he shouted while chasing her, panting. Fortunately, Kaioshishi stopped after running for a while. I told you to train seriously. Look at you, you're out of breath after running for so long. Hearing this, Zikingayu ran closer while panting. I chose the mecha division as my development direction, so the intensity of physical training is naturally not as good as your armed mecha soldiers. And I didn't neglect my training, it's mainly because you ran too fast just now. As he was talking, he found that he and Kaioshishi were in a magnificent garden at the moment. The fragrant flowers around were blooming, and the lush green fruit trees were hung with plump fruits. When the breeze blew, you could smell a faint fresh fruit fragrance. In addition, there is a very conspicuous pink villa in the middle, and some fresh vegetables are planted near the villa. I won't say anything else. This vegetable field is pretty good. Zikingayu, who claims to be a noble young master, commented in a low voice, and then walked over to check the vegetables. He didn't know why. As soon as he got close to the cabbages and Chinese cabbages, he had the urge to dig them out of the ground. Strange, how could he do such a thing? He is the most favored young master of the Z family. But the next second, he suddenly heard a familiar female voice. Remember to collect the cabbages and Chinese cabbages outside. If you don't collect them, they will rot in the ground. When I collect them, I will make kimchi for you to eat with rice. Hearing the voice, Zikingayu subconsciously hugged the cabbage in front of him with both hands, and then twisted it violently to pick the cabbage off. When he was still stunned by his behavior, the door of the villa suddenly opened. After the door opened, two girls, one tall and one short, walked out. The tall one was holding a large vegetable basket with both hands, while the short one was standing there in a daze. The next second, a beautiful figure flew past him. Shishi, you are finally here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Wen Jiu ran over excitedly and hugged Kaioshishi. Seeing this, Zikingayu couldn't help but throw the cabbage in his hand over. Hey, I warn you, stay away from my people. But before his cabbage was thrown to Wen Jiu, it was kicked back by the quick reacting number 10. He didn't even see when number 10 went over, he only knew that he was hit by the cabbage after a bang. Zhao Jiu, it seems that your friends are not friendly at all. Stephanie patted the mud on her boots. This pair of royal blue boots is a pair she has treasured for a long time. If she hadn't thought of meeting Wen Jiu's two friends today, she would not be willing to take them out to wear. After all, in terms of appearance, she felt that no one was more unique and beautiful than her. However, the episode on their side did not affect the other two. After Kaioshishi was unexpectedly hugged by Wen Jiu, she suddenly felt an indescribable sense of security in her heart. It was like a dandelion seed that had been wandering for a long time and finally found its own piece of soil. Number 9. Did I know you before? She let the other party hug her tightly and finally said the words that should have been said long ago. Hearing this, Wen Jiu felt his nose sour. Well, we used to be very good friends. Still now. After her voice fell, Kaioshishi also returned her the same hug. Although she has not remembered the past, she has forgotten. She now knows the answer to the question. Whether in the past, now or in the future, they are best friends. Seeing that the atmosphere at this moment is becoming more and more warm and touching, Zikingayu walked over with a confused look on her face. What do you mean? You believe everything she says? Kaioshishi, are you stupid? He didn't understand. He was obviously Kaioshishi's best friend, so why did she act like a close friend when she had only met number 9 for the third time? And this number 9 said that they used to be very good friends. This was the first time he had seen such nonsense. You are stupid. I have never seen anyone stupider than you. Kaioshishi wiped her tears and looked at him with great disgust. Don't you understand yet? Number 9 is that very important person. All the memories that were cleared from us are about her, so you and I treated her as a stranger before. Hearing this, Zikingayu felt that his brain seemed to be unable to turn. He hadn't seen Kaioshishi for only one night, so how could the other party's thinking be so active that she even deduced that number 9 was the part of memory that they both lost? Seeing that he was still in a daze, Kaioshishi felt helpless and walked over. Wen Jiu, that little chestnut doesn't seem to be very smart. Stephanie started to give people nicknames again. Hearing this, Wen Jiu nodded in agreement. She thought it would take a long time to explain it clearly, but she didn't expect Kaioshishi to be able to come out on her own. Although the other party looks like a very easygoing girl, she is actually very stubborn and has her own ideas. So she tossed and turned in bed for a long time last night, worried that Kaioshishi and Zikingayu would come with caution. If they have been on guard against her all the time, then she really doesn't know how to explain it. Now it seems that she was overthinking many problems. Maybe friends are like this, even if the memory of each other is forcibly cleared. But at the moment they meet each other, the various feelings that come like a tide cannot deceive them. Today's first update has been delivered. Please check it out, my lovely little angels. 030. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 574, Crab Row Noodles 2. This meeting of the friends ended perfectly with Zikingayu being beaten. PFFT, the expression of Zhao Banli when he is wronged is exactly the same as who kick is. Stephanie, who was sitting cross-legged beside the coffee table, was eating the freshly baked egg tarts while looking at Zikingayu squatting in the corner with interest. The other party puffed up his face like a white and tender little bun, and his dark peach eyes were filled with tears of grievance. This great immortal is different from him. Hukiki happened to walk out with a plate of stir-fried cabbage. Besides, this great immortal will not cry when he is beaten. Hearing this, Zikingayu, who was already wronged, felt even more wronged. What do you know? Sister Jiu's beating really hurts. Okay. This young master is originally delicate and tender. You see, she beat Mired. He had listened to Kaioshishi's explanation for a long time before, and he was finally about to figure out this logic, but was beaten up by Wen Jiu. It is famous for saying that children have bad memory loss, and they are mostly useless, and it is useful to beat them up and keep them safe. Although he was beaten up, he suddenly realized. But Wen Jiu showed no mercy at all, and almost let his soul return to the west. It's okay to be beaten up, but he will be ridiculed by number 10 and this little monster. He might as well lose his memory and stay safely on his island. Yeah, it's like you've been beaten. Hukiki walked back to the kitchen with disdain. Little brat is just crying. He was not that he had been beaten by Wen Jiu, but he wouldn't cry because of such a thing. He is a super cool and powerful fox fairy. Kaioshishi had just chatted with Wen Jiu for a long time and finally got a clue. Now she knew that the three of them were arrested at the same time, but they were not classified as the same seedling level. She originally wanted to ask some more things, but Wen Jiu was busy cooking now, so she came out of the kitchen first. As a result, as soon as she walked out, she caught a glimpse of Zikingayu squatting in the corner crying. She looked like a crib bee who had suffered a great injustice, and even the tip of her nose was light red from crying. So she hurried over to comfort her. Don't cry. Jiu made you crab row noodles. I don't like crab row noodles. Zikingayu turned to the wall in a huff. Anyway, I can't eat it. Even if I starve to death, I won't eat it. As soon as he finished speaking, Wen Jiu came out with two large bowls, and a rich and fresh fragrance wafted over. He was instantly attracted by the peculiar fragrance, and he changed back to his previous appearance from the posture of facing the wall. After the other party put the bowls and chopsticks on the dining table, he smiled and slowly walked towards him. "Are you still sulking? Didn't I just apply medicine on you?" Wen Jiu said in a coaxing tone. "Eat your meal first before getting angry, okay? I was indeed too impulsive just now." Hearing this, Jiu snorted and turned his head away. "No matter how impulsive you are, you shouldn't hit me. If you damage my brain, you won't find another friend as smart as me." But just after he finished speaking, he saw Hukiki making a face. "How can you be smart, you little cribberby? You are not as smart as this immortal. You. I won't bother with a monster like you." Jiu stood up after calming down. "At least I don't have to act cute and beg for food like a pet." Seeing that they were about to compete for the bottom position in IQ, Wen Jiu, as the head of the family, could only speak up to stop them. "It's enough to just bicker for a few words. Go to the dining table and sit down to have lunch. The dishes she cooked this time all need to be eaten while hot. If they are cooled, they will not be so delicious." After saying that, Hukiki stuck out her tongue and said nothing more. She sat down at the table with Stephanie. This made Jiu, who originally wanted to be angry and not eat, stand up immediately and pull Kaioshishi to sit opposite them. There was an atmosphere that they were about to fight. When two idiots with the same IQ were still glaring at each other, the two girls who had been getting along harmoniously just now started fighting first. "Zio, I heard that you are Jiu's best friend." "Yes, what's wrong with Miss Number 10? "Oh, nothing. It's just that I can't eat spicy food. Jiu made steamed crabs for me, but I don't mind sharing it with you. It's okay. I know Jiu is very caring. When I was sad before, she often made desserts for me in different ways." The two seemed to be communicating in a friendly manner, but Hukiki and Jiu both keenly smelled a hint of gunpowder. "Really? I knew that my little Jiu is always kind." Stephanie picked up the teacup with a smile, but although she was smiling, there was a deep coldness in her eyes. Seeing this, Kaioshishi took a sip of tea and willing to be left behind. "Wow, Jiu's tea is still so delicious." Speaking of tea, I wonder if Sister Number 10 has ever tasted Jiu's brown sugar pearl milk tea. The taste is really unique. I feel greedy just thinking about it. Hearing this, Stephanie chuckled. "Little Huaho, your memory should still be incomplete, right? Can you remember so many things just after meeting? I really want to dig out your cute brain and see how you can be so smart." As soon as she finished speaking, Jiu slapped the table and stood up. "What do you mean by this? You dare to touch this young master's people?" However, Stephanie ignored him at all and just turned her head to look at Wen Jiu, who had just walked out of the kitchen. "What do you mean?" Wen Jiu put the freshly cooked spicy crab in the middle of the table. "And why is your temper back?" She wondered why Jiu had suffered a lot in the base, but her temper became worse. Hearing this, Kaioshishi immediately smiled and said, Jiu Jiu is not good here, you know. It's just that Sister Number 10 just joked with me and said she wanted to pry open my brain. Well, Zia, don't wrongly accuse me. Stephanie was not a good-tempered person. I just said I wanted to play with you. Why did you go to Jiu to complain? Although Wen Jiu had expected that the four would quarrel when they got together, she didn't expect that she just went to the kitchen to cook a dish, and when she came out, she ran into two Lendainus. The former is best at winning with softness and words, while the latter relies on some madness to intimidate others. In short, they are not easy to deal with. So before she went back to the kitchen to serve the steamed crabs, she reminded them a few words. If you have any conflicts, go out and solve them after dinner. There is nothing that can't be solved by fighting, understand? After she finished speaking, Kaioshishi and Stephanie looked at each other in tacit understanding. In fact, I think Jiu's solution is a bit rough. Many things can obviously be discussed by sitting down. Well, although Zia, you look annoying, I still have to admit that you are right this time. The two suddenly put aside their prejudices and discussed how rough Wen Jiu's thoughts were. This is the second update of today. Thank you for the support of every little angel. Mua 030. Chapter 575 Crab Bro Noodles 3. Such a scene made Zikingayu and Hukiki both stunned. It turned out that they and the fox were the only ones who were seriously competing. Oh, childish. How could this young master compete with you? Zikingayu pretended to stand up unintentionally. This young master is free anyway, so let's go to the kitchen for a stroll. Hearing this, Hukiki stood up very alertly. I think you just want to show off your presence at Jiu. After saying that, he ran towards the kitchen first, fearing that the other party would take his position as a helper. Seeing that his thoughts were exposed, Zikingayu hurriedly chased after him in anger. Jiu, let me help you serve the dishes. Jiu, put down the plate in your hand and let me do it. The two rushed into the kitchen, but they were greeted by two chestnuts. The two chestnuts hit their foreheads accurately, and the slight pain immediately made them sober up. You, go and take out those 3 bowls of crab roe noodles. You, come and help me take away this plate of steamed crab. Seeing that they were all vying to help in the kitchen, Wen Jiu didn't say anything polite and directly ordered the two to help her do things, which happened to be a good opportunity for her to have some free time. After she finished speaking, Zikingayu and Hukiki immediately did what she had arranged. When they walked out of the kitchen with the dishes, they saw Stephanie had already sat next to Kiyoshishi, and the two were even laughing and whispering. This scene really shocked them a little, because the two girls were just being sarcastic to each other, and they didn't expect that they could sit together and chat in a short while. So Zikingayu and Hukiki looked at each other, and then moved closer to them with the dishes. Your eye makeup is really delicate. Every time I try to draw eyeliner, my hands shake like a sieve, not to mention eyeshadow. Oh, that's because you don't draw much, Zaya, and your eye shape doesn't need to be drawn too complicatedly. Just gently outline it according to the trend of the end of the eye. As expected, it was just some topics between girls. Zikingayu and Hukiki felt bored, so they put the dishes away and returned to their seats. Their minds were attracted by the food, and they didn't hear the conversation between the two girls. Thank you so much, sister number 10, for teaching me, but you put on makeup every day like this. Aren't you worried that your skin will get worse? Well, don't worry about that, Zaya, I'm naturally beautiful, and my skin won't get worse, even if I put on makeup every day. Do you want me to take off my makeup tonight and show it to you? But their conversation soon ended with the appearance of Wen Jiu. Why are you all sitting still? Wen Jiu came out with a bowl of boiled fish soup. Hurry up and eat. These crabs won't taste good if they get cold. Hearing this, Hukiki picked up the chopsticks without any hesitation. He first poured the fresh and shiny boiled yellow oil into the bowl, and then stirred it evenly with chopsticks, before starting to taste it carefully. The crab roe was sticky and full of freshness, and the crab paste was soft and fragrant and perfectly blended with the noodles, and there was a very unique sweet aftertaste when eating. After the smooth noodles were soaked in boiled yellow oil, they tasted not bland at all but full of freshness. The golden boiled yellow oil stained the off-white noodles, as if full of gold and silver, emitting a faint light in the bowl. When Hukiki first knew that he was going to eat crabs, he secretly complained to Stephanie, saying that those crabs were full of bones, and it was not only difficult to eat, but also hard on the teeth. As a result, this bowl of crab roe noodles directly impressed him. The oily and delicate crab flavor bloomed on the tip of the tongue, and the refreshing noodles were chewy and had a wheat aroma. When the boiled butter was ready, he took a look at it. He thought that such greasy food would be greasy to eat. However, after eating a big bowl of crab roe noodles, he felt that he was still unsatisfied and wanted another bowl. Jiu, how do you eat this crab? Kiyoshishi picked up a steamed crab. Although her and Zikingai's memories are still missing, after they knew that the missing person was Wen Jiu, their memories began to emerge little by little. For example, the names they each called Wen Jiu were the first things they thought of after knowing Wen Jiu's name. First, break the crab shell like this, and then use chopsticks to get the crab roe out, Wen Jiu said as he demonstrated to her. Stephanie next to her also picked up a steamed crab and smiled as she followed the steps she taught and ate it. This time, Wen Jiu asked the nursery teacher to take her to catch crabs. It seems that, because the Imperial Capital Military Academy has changed a teacher, they have not trained with those students these days. Since there is no training together, these seedlings have returned to their lives of individual training. So after the individual training yesterday, Wen Jiu pestered the nursery teacher to take her to Ishan Island and then caught a lot of crabs in the mountain stream. She had discovered that stream during the hunting competition before, and the crabs in it must be plump just by looking at their size. If you catch crabs in a modern stream, there is not much meat to eat from those mountain crabs, let alone tasting crab roe and crab paste. I don't know if it's because of the mutation of the species in the interstellar era, but she was greedy when she saw the crabs in the stream. Facts have proved that Wen Jiu's vision is correct. As soon as she opened the crab shell, she could see a lot of crab roe and crystal oil dripping down the shell. She first picked up a little crab roe with chopsticks, dipped a little crab vinegar in the dipping dish, and quickly stuffed it into her mouth. The oily and plump crab roe is full of freshness and fragrance, and paired with a little crab vinegar to relieve greasiness and enhance fragrance, it not only does not taste greasy, but also has a different flavor. This crab vinegar was also specially prepared by her. It is a mixture of ginger paste, sugar, balsamic vinegar and light soy sauce. Just a little dip can double the deliciousness of the crab. Wow. I didn't expect that crabs can be eaten like this. Kyoshi ate up all the crab roe and crab paste, and then followed Wen Jiu to pick up the pliers to peel the crab meat. This is a completely different taste from the rich and fresh crab roe. The crab meat is fresh and elegant, but has a full and delicious flavor. After peeling it, put it in the empty crab shell that was peeled off before. When it accumulates more, add some crab vinegar and simmer it. The taste is so happy. Stephanie seems to have no talent in peeling crabs. Later, she lost her patience and took the crab and bit it. Seeing this, Wen Jiu quickly spoke out to stop her from eating the crab raw. You can eat crab roe noodles or spicy crab first. I didn't put too much chili in the spicy crab. She took the crab that Stephanie had ruined. I'll help you peel 2 steamed crabs. Don't bite them with your teeth. Hearing this, Stephanie immediately smiled like a flower. Kyoshi didn't think anything of it at first, but after seeing her extremely bright smile, she realized it belatedly. Okay, she has met a master. So she sighed and said, Jiu, my hands are tired from peeling crabs. However, before Wen Jiu could speak, Zikingayu next to him answered first. Is that so? Then you take a good rest. I will help you peel the crabs. After that, he peeled the crabs happily, not noticing Kyoshi's gloomy face at all. This time, Stephanie won the contest by being the first to sell misery. Today's third update has also been delivered on time. Thanks again to the little angels for their support. I wrote a little bit about the warm daily life. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.